guys. Sorry I'm late. I was grabbing a bite to eat, so I am now officially a minute late. But I hope everybody's doing well. We'll just get to it since, excuse me, since I've already got questions rolling. See, Toasty says perfect timing. Well, welcome to the chat, Toasty. Lance says, have a question. Why, how come you got helicoptered into Florida? Maybe I heard that wrong. PPS, high smoking hot redhead. Yeah, she's downstairs working. she said something about only married men are hitting on her these days, so better not be married. But that said, you were asking about me being helicoptered into Florida. Yeah, I was. You heard that right. I was helicoptered into Florida. I was going to boot camp at Paris Island at the time, and passed out. And I had passed out 2 or 3 different times. Man, I look like red in this light. Anyways, I got helicoptered in to go to a hospital in northern Florida because I passed out during PT. Come to find out, I've got reactive airway disease. So at the time they diagnosed me with hereditary emphysema and asthma. Come to find out, it's reactive airway disease, which is similar. But there is no such thing as hereditary emphysema, is what another doctor has told me since. So I don't know, what's going on with that. Let's see. Saltine, 25. 25 what? Prince Jenkins says, like the reminder. Awesome. Perfect timing. I was going to send an email today. Oh, yeah, Mark? Well, let's see. Ask questions, man. Ask away. Curiosity, good. I have a question to ask you becoming a teacher these days. You're becoming a teacher, or you're saying that I'm a teacher and you're asking me a question? Sorry, Samantha's out delivering, so if she texts or calls in the middle of this, she takes precedence because we just had brakes done on the van, so got to make sure the wife is taken care of. All right. See, 5. Oh, you're counting down. I see. Okay. Yeah, I got you, Saltine. Did you hold your breath? Because I don't see you having commented since. Let's see. What's up, Dune? Yes, let the spice flow. The spice must flow. Let's see. Elsa from Fort Myers. What's up? Glad to see you on the chat. Welcome to East Tennessee. Hey, Steve, what's going on with you, man? Welcome to the chat. Curiosity says, most of the wood pellets in France are made with resinous tree for the moment. What is the composition of your wood pellets? Are they free of additives? What kind of binder do they use? They use ash as a binder. It's like less than 0.02% ash. But I don't even think that's a binder for real. So what's going on? Just watching? Okay. Ours are hardwood fuel pellets with a little bit of ash. They don't always use ash, but that seems to be the most common thing they've got going on. Yeah, the other night we had spammers, like trolls and stuff, like crazy.
Robin made me a moderator.
Did she? Okay.
So I can go
good and
watch that and get them.
Okay. Yeah, man, they were the trolls were bad. Let's see. Kevin says, do you use distilled water for liquid culture? I have hard water and seem to have tons of sediment. That's Jason, by the way, guys. You guys have seen him in the videos. He's one of our production men. Well, the production man, I guess. We have a production woman.
Production lady.
Yeah, we've got a production lady and a production man. No, I don't use distilled water. I've used RO water in the past, but I tend to use tap water. It's hard. Dune says, what's up, Jason? Oh, Lance, you said the first part got cut off. Did I work on boats? I'll tell you what. Let me finish this question, then I'll go back to the. All right, man. Thanks. I do get a lot of sediment in my liquid culture, but usually as you're spinning stuff and as your mycelium starts growing, it grabs a hold of that, eats it, and you don't ever have to worry about it. So I just use my hard tap water. I don't use any RO water distilled. I have tried a whole bunch of different types, and the tap water seems to do the best as far as quality of growth. Lance, to go back to it, in the beginning, I was talking about how I was in boot camp at Paris Island at the time, and I passed out during PT. And I was like 2 months in at this point. And then whenever I passed out, I woke up with a bunch of people standing over me, like looking down, and they were about to give me what's called the silver bullet because they thought I had heat exhaustion or a heat stroke or something. And to make sure people aren't doing this, I guess, or they check your core temp, stick a metal probe up you. So I woke up just in time to avoid the metal probe. Come to find out it was breathing. So they called a corpsman over. They put me in medical. I snuck out of the medical platoon. The next time we did PT, I passed out again. And so they caught me again, and they're like, wait a minute, you snuck out. So they put me in, held me, and watched me. And then I passed out during some weightlifting because they would only allow me to do weightlifting and not running. And I was having real bad breathing problems at that point. So I passed out. And at that point, they decided to go get me checked out for real. So they sent me to a hospital in northern Florida to go do a whole gamut of tests. Like I had to run with, breathing tubes and stuff to check my airflow. Had to do these things where they had to breathe in a chemical and do that kind of stuff. So that's all it was. I got flew in. That wasn't like life-threatening at the time. They just flew me in there. Got to have a Coca-Cola for like the first time in a while, at that point, and call Samantha at the hospital phone. And then they drove me back, but that's the only time I've been to Florida. So, all right. Thomas Page says, perfect timing. I'm painting again and got something to listen to now. Well, man, welcome to the chat. I hope it's entertaining. Hope it's not like watching paint dry. Gunners, what's up, man? He says, hey, Mossy, driving home from Boston. Looking forward to the chat. Keep the good work. Yeah, man, I hope you're not watching it. I hope you're listening. And if you need to type something, pull over or have someone else do it. See, Dune. Oh, yeah. Jason already head off. Jason's a hoot. He's probably going to be on here in a minute moderating this. So, what's up, Kevin? Jack says, what's up, Mossbacks? Yeah, what's up, Mossbacks? I guess I need to start saying it. Sorry, my voice is cracking. I woke up this morning with tons of congestion. The throat's a little sore. I'm having a rattle in my chest. Like I've got some mucus going on in there. So you'll have to forgive me if my voice kind of cracks occasionally, goes in and out during this. It's also why I haven't even bothered to put in my contacts today. I just haven't felt like doing anything but the bare minimum. Indigo says, thank you for doing the live Q&A. Curious of contam rate and blocks. Do you track this? What do you expect as a normal rate? We do track it. Samantha is a stickler for data. She has all kinds of charts that she's been building. In fact, I had stack of them. She must have already taken them downstairs. She's constantly designing them, redesigning them for what information she finds useful as far as tracking stuff. Right now, we always plan on a 10% contamination rate. And that's an average throughout the year. Typically, contamination doesn't just show up in steady small amounts for us like it does a lot of other people. It shows up instead in very, very tiny amounts occasionally, followed by spikes, whether like if we had a bad cook, where the heating elements went out the other day and the blocks never got more than warmed. And then so Samantha and Laura were working in the lab, and as they were incubating them, they're like, man, these smell sour. They don't smell good. And you could look at them. They look green instead of like the cooked chocolate brown that they typically look after they're steamed. And those are all going to go green, I'm sure, for the most part. So that'll be a spike. So we already have that on Samantha's sheet that it was a suspected bad cook. So whenever that comes in, we'll have that data that goes on shows. But we absolutely track it. Samantha is all about tracking. So since she's come on full time and really taken over management downstairs of stuff, she is really, really like, I am not I love data. I love being able to see data. I hate writing it down. I hate having to stop what I'm doing and put it in. So thankfully she builds a system that works around my distaste for it, but and I still get to use it. And I will tell you that I got sold on it whenever we started doing block clients. They'll come over and they'll be like, did you not pack my, why are we not finding the blue? Did you not pack the blue for, your this order I put in? I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have sworn we did. I can go right to the lab sheets, look it up. Gotcha. It's on this batch, this date, which means it's probably on this shelf. Find the order, get it to them, that kind of thing. So I find the data useful. I don't know. I'm not a details person. You look at my desk right here. In fact, going to show you the embarrassing secret. Look at that. That is just piles of paper. So I am terrible at keeping up with that stuff. So Killer Kenya said, how many steamers did you go through before you settled on your current setup, and do you plan an upgrade? We do plan an upgrade. Actually, Ben's already, he's got one that he's designing in his head that he's been telling me about. It will be a lot better than what we're using, and it won't be much more expensive than what we're currently using. But we went through a few different steamers. Some of them more dangerous than others. There was one that we always ran, or whenever we ran it, we always like flip the switch and just like, ugh, let's hope tonight the house doesn't burn down, you know, that kind of thing. That was our electrode boiler, and you don't need to know any more information than that. But beyond that, we went through that one, and then another variant on it, and then I think from there we went to a sauna steamer. And then from the sauna steamer, we went through 2 or 3 of those before Ben built the one we've got. And it was basically just like we're tired of stuff breaking down and not being able to get the parts right now. So Ben designed it entirely off stuff we could get at Lowe's that's, 2 minutes away. And the upgrade, yeah, I mean, my hope with the upgrade is that, so Ben has talked about doing it PID controlled, doing multiple elements, getting it really fine-tuned, because that's probably one of our most expensive regular running cost is running that steamer. Air conditioning is probably the one above it, but being able to have that finely tuned, have it get information on the core temp, and then be able to make decisions based on that itself instead of us just running at full blast, I think that will save us a lot of money. So that's the upgrade we're talking about. Saltine wants to know what the tent behind me is. That tent right there is a light box for photography. That little hole right there is for sticking the camera through. There's lights, like a whole big LED panel on the top. It really lights up a thing. I've actually taken a couple of time lapses in there for dishes and the like. So there'll be a lot more stuff going on in it as time goes on. Curiosity says, have you heard about Brad Coons? He started to produce pellets pre-mixed for mushroom. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know Brad. He's in the Mossback Syndicate. Though I've not heard a lot from him recently, and some people told me that he kind of ghosted on him a couple of months ago. So I'll have to look and see, make sure he's okay. But yeah, he does a combined pellet. And there, I put my glasses on top of my head and it pulled my hair out. He's done a couple of different pellets. He did the Odin. We built the Thor, and then he built the Odin as kind of like a one up, on the name. So with that, he does have those pellets. I have not used them. I don't know anyone personally who's used them. It's just, where he's at. So I've heard that he's had good results with them, but I think that he did it more as a thing to export instead of, using for himself entirely. Ben knows Brad better than I do. They're both engineering types. All right, let's see. Put my eyes on. Make and model of the bag sealer. Oh, sorry, I skipped a question. What's the most batches in a row that went bad? I've had 3 go bad back to back until I found a tear in my HEPA filter. Yeah, usually. So honestly, if a single batch goes bad, we start looking for the problem. An entire batch only goes bad if there is a systematic problem. So that systematic problem could be your steamer is getting weak. The elements need to be changed out. You're getting buildup on your elements. Your water is, your elements may burn out because you, hold on, guys. I know a lot of people don't like to watch people put stuff in their eyes, so let me just turn you for a second for this. This is going to make it easier for me to actually read the questions because the glasses are like, they got that glare from the sunlight. So, so typically when a batch goes bad like that, there's something like that, like a hole in your HEPA filter. And one of the ways I did it with the holes in the HEPA filter is just patch it with silicone, just fill it with silicone and move on, and just recognize that you're not going to have a perfect airstream at that point. So, let's see. We have you had another part to that question, didn't you? No, until you found a tear in your HEPA filter. Okay. What is the make and model of the bag sealer that I use? It is a AIM, American Industrial. No, maybe it's AIE, American Industrial Electrical. Something like I got it from UPAC. If you go on UPAC and look up electromagnetic sealer, you'll find the one I have. They sell them in different sizes. I bought a cheaper version at the time. I'm looking at buying the bigger one now. I love that electromagnet. It's a lot of people use the foot pedal ones now, but I don't like anything where I have to keep doing something. I like that I can press that and walk away and come back and it's already open. The bag has been sealed. So, all right, one more. Woo! Oh man, that one's bad. All right. Curiosity said I had some price that's expensive to ship, but not too bad if you live near him. Yeah, the freight's what's going to kill you every single time on that. Canada to America, or America to Canada, because stuff. And I will tell you that when I've shipped stuff to Canada recently, I have lost money on those orders because I underestimate my shipping. So. See, William says, hey, love your video and channel. This may have been asked, but struggling with proper liquid so that you can't PC because I'll push all the liquid out. So if you're pellets and you're having a problem, use hot water and stuff will absorb faster. So not only will it absorb faster, but then you're going to have to give it a minute to absorb so that the blocks are hard instead of sopping wet. I go for 60%. So to give you an idea, for my 12-pound bags, I use 5 pounds of solids. It's 2.5 pounds hardwood fuel pellets, 2.5 pounds soybean hull pellets, and then 4 pounds water. So it's actually more like 12.25 pound bag. So that's the answer there. All right. I hope that helps you with that, by the way. Bear had a problem with spawn becoming stagnant after after colonizing a bit. I have eggs that stopped colonizing. Even the broken up spawn after a while, they were a little bit overspawned. So when you say overspawned, that immediately makes me think that the bag's overheated. And if your bag's overheated, they will absolutely stall out, and they'll go bacterial and they'll smell sour. So maybe that's what's going on. I'm not entirely sure. Without knowing more about your setup, seeing it, being a part of it, that's what the consults are typically for. But is to help you troubleshoot this stuff. But just the very little information that I've gotten from you here, I'm going to say that it's probably a heat problem. And even if your room is nice and cool, that doesn't mean the inside of the bag is. A lot of times those bags will get hot in the core. I mean, you got to think sawdust is a decent insulator, so. If you've got a lot of heat growing, you need to have a good airflow around that bag, pulling as much heat off it as possible, especially if you overspawn. So I hope that helps. If it doesn't, come back another time, man. We'll talk it over again. Adam Bolton. Hey, Andrew, I'm a plant geneticist. Okay. I already want to be friends. And my wife is a plant pathologist. Oh, my gosh. You two are like a power couple. And we're planning to start some mushroom growing and breeding. I'd be more than happy to share my genetics info. Your videos have been the best way to get started. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, man. Gosh, 2 PhDs? Like, you guys are way above my pay grade. What are you doing watching me? My gosh. Oh, thank you. And yes, please, I want to learn genetics. I actually signed up for the Odin's Genetics 101 or 100 course or whatever. I just got confirmation that it shipped today. I'm going to do their experiments and run through all that stuff. I have read, I know like Mendelian genetics a little bit, not much, that kind of stuff. But my gosh, yes, let's be friends. If you can email me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com, that's the best way to get a hold of me. I need to be careful saying this, I guess, during the live streams because you guys have blown me up. But yeah, Adam, if you'll get with me, man, I would love to pick your brain. I would love to have you help me. Like, I would love to learn how to run PCR. I want to learn how to read. I basically want to learn how to read genetics and be able to do some analysis of it, or find at least a good place to have it done so that I have that connection that's reliable. But that I have a breeding program going on with the mushrooms, and I'm doing things a little bit differently than the way I was taught. And it's a little bit messier of a way, which means that I actually do need a good way to get genetic reports back, at least about paternity for now. But going forward, I'd like to get all kinds of stuff ran. So if you wouldn't mind getting a hold of me, if that offer stands, please do. And again, thank you. I mean, it's kind of weird to have. I have had multiple PhDs contact me and say they really like the way we do things and our information. I feel so bootstrapped and like there's significant gaps in my knowledge. So Cleve says, hi, building a fruiting chamber soon, 19 foot by 15 foot. How deep are your shelves? Well, our shelves were built specifically for the size of our room and our cart to get through, and my wide shoulders. We made sure that when the mushrooms were growing, I wouldn't be knocking them off when I'm walking down. So you're going to be better off building them more exact for. You might be able to fit 2 rows in there, and that might change how you design things. However, when you say deep, I mean, like they're about 6 inches deep or something like that. It's 2 2x4s, and they've got a couple inches between them. The next grow we do, we're probably going to do a 2x6, and then do pipes on either side, put it with a bracket. We've had a couple clients who did consults with us, and they've done those, and they are having really good success. And it's a little bit cheaper even than doing it the way we're doing it with multiple 2x4s. So, yeah. Killer Kenyas, I know you don't like steamer questions, but one more. Multiple elements in trough, 220 or 110. So we don't have elements in the trough. The elements are in the boiler, which is in a 55-gallon drum next to the trough. We do ours 220 volt at 9 kilowatts. We have 2 of those. So it's 4.5 kilowatt elements is what we use. And it's not that I don't like steamer questions. I don't want to show you our design. And specifically, Ben has asked me not to show you the design because it's kind of rednecked a little bit. And we don't want you guys copying us and then getting hurt. And we just don't want anybody getting hurt. So the best thing to do is to do it professionally and by the professional standards. We're just willing to take the risk a little bit. But even now that we are doing better financially, we're doing better time-wise, we're doing better where we're actually getting upgrades going and, moving into the warehouse and stuff. We're getting things formalized. Everything's getting formalized. Samantha's been working on our traceability. Steamer's getting formalized. Everything's getting up to code, that kind of stuff. Preparing for higher scrutiny. When I started this YouTube channel, we knew there'd be a lot of scrutiny on us. Maybe not much in the beginning, but it would grow, and it has. And as it continues to grow, we want to make sure that we're up and ready for that before it ever becomes a problem for us. Curiosity said, that's for crackers. I'm sorry. Amanda, hey, Armando. I'm sorry, Armando. My mind just immediately read that as Amanda. Hello, greetings from Mexico. Well, hola, man. Thanks for all that precious information you provide in your videos. You're very welcome. I'm glad to be of service, glad to be helpful. Hey, Wayne, what's going on, man? Good to have you back on the stream. Sean, once you have taken your grain bags out and let them cool, how long do they keep hydrated? Do you rehydrate before using? So our grain bags, we never rehydrate. We never rehydrate anything. So grain bags go out of the pressure cooker. They get cooled in front of the flow hood where they stay clean as possible. We then inoculate them, close them up, shake them, and let them sit. And once they grow in, they're used as spawn. We don't use grain for anything other than spawn. So there's no need to rehydrate it. Kenya's, about how much time a day are you putting into the business? Like just growing a lab part, not the sales. You're welcome for the valuable info. I'll try to get it fast so you can get back to work. As far as so you're I'll tell you what, let me just take you back to before we started doing the online side of things, because that's the online side of things takes up most of my business, of my day, that and the lab. If I wasn't breeding new strains, if you're talking about just production, Samantha and Laura total put in about 4.5 man hours to produce 120 12-pound bags through Prometheus. In the laboratory, they spent maybe 6 man-hours inoculating 120 blocks, shaking them and shelving them. That's 2 people working 3 hours. That's 6 man-hours. And then as far as driving, Samantha spends a couple days driving, about 4 hours each. Back in the day, before we hired on Jason and Laura to take us away from the more grunt work, we'll say, to me doing more online stuff, designing experiments, breeding mushrooms, and Samantha doing more artistic stuff, logos, getting that skill set built up so that she could eventually bring it to you guys. Me making videos at the time, that was before I hired Robin. We were working 40 hours a week total. Samantha and I, Ben, and then we had one part-time employee who helped. That was the entire operation, working about 40 hours a week. So, and we were growing about 600 pounds a week at that. So one person working about 40 man hours, working by themselves. I would say, maybe bump it up to 45, something like that, because things go a little bit slower when you're by yourself. But yeah, I hope that helps, man. I mean, most people I know who are growing 600 pounds can do it mostly by themselves. They're tired, like they would be at any other job, but they're able to do it by themselves. Les says, what are the best light bulbs for the best results in oyster colors? So I am quite positive that there's some LEDs that are probably better. But the ones I use are T5, 6500 Kelvin, just fluorescent lights. And those are what we have found to be the best results so far for the price per fixture. LEDs are coming down cheap now. I know a lot of people who use custom LED lightings. Like you walk in by their grow room and it looks like it's just a blue light. He's actually complained to me it's terrible for taking pictures, but the mushroom colors come out amazing. So, he said that they have to turn them off and like turn on a different type of light when they're working in there a lot of times because it's such a just eye strain. But 6500 Kelvin works great for me. Here's another little trick, guys. If you're doing a lot of Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff for your business, 6500 Kelvin is just about the perfect range for taking photos. So keep that in mind. Your business is not just growing mushrooms. It's getting the idea that you grow mushrooms out to other people. And one of the best ways to do that is to not just grow that's why I hate top fruiting as opposed to side fruiting. Side fruiting, like you'll see our pictures of our mushrooms. And back in the day when we first started with our shelves, when we designed those very vertical shelves and side fruits, getting those upskirt shots and everything, like people had never really seen mushrooms in that light. So, like it was the perfect lighting. It was the perfect fog density. It was like the perfect shelving. All of that added up to being really, really good photography type stuff. So, keep that in mind if you're going to be doing a lot of social media.
About to head out.
You are?
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good day.
I'm going to take one of these mugs.
Oh, okay. Who's getting it?
Him.
Okay. She's paying you?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we put them on a limited run, so.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the blue ones.
It's a blue one?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, guys. Ben is selling a mug. One of the mugs that we've got on the website right now, he's selling those to somebody that he works with. So, and now we've got such a small inventory on these things, I've got to make sure we get it down. One blue mug. Awesome. All right. I see you have grain spawn. How quickly do you process orders and do you provide tracking numbers? On grain spawn, not terribly fast. Like I'm behind on a couple varieties still. Most of them I'm caught up on. Most grain spawn's going out in about 4 weeks now. That said, I'm plenty behind on lots of stuff. LC goes out next week at the latest, and culture plates go out usually next week at the latest. But yeah, the problem with grain spawn is that it takes me a while to get it. Like even if I make it, sometimes I'll have a problem. And if I have a problem with that grain spawn, I have to remake it. So I actually need the full 8 weeks just in case there's a problem. And you'll find that like with Aloha or lots of other people like Norspore who are able to get stuff to you, and Amasil who are able to get stuff to you like immediately. The reason why they do this is because they only sell a couple different varieties. I mean, Norspore sells a lot, but they keep them going all the time. So I don't always have every spawn type going at the same time. I do have a ton of King Blue Oyster spawn going out like in a week. So thank you, Wayne. I see you catching stuff already. My gosh. Trolls. All right. You said you sent an email last Sunday but never heard back. It's all good. Let me find you real quick. Was it under Saltine Cracker? Like I said, man, you guys have got me going, and I am behind. That's Rich. I got to that person. Lloyd. Crap, man, I don't know. You guys have got me so buried. Received 6 days ago. Nope. I'm sorry, man. I will get to it. I have a whole list. I apologize for not getting back to you yet, man. I'm trying to get through emails. Like I said, you guys just slammed me. Adam says, I'll send you an email and happy to. Oh, yeah, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. You've got me excited about that for sure. Mark says, hey, Andrew, this is Mark from Maine. I have experience growing in a different medium than what is typically used for gourmet mushrooms. A couple of friends want to put my skills to work and start a grow room and eventually target farmers markets and chefs. What would you suggest? I mean, well, if you're used to it growing it in a different way than me, I'm not sure what I can suggest for you. What do you mean? Like what do I suggest for consult pricing for them, or maybe clarify just a little bit, man. I'd be happy to answer. I just want to make sure I answer with what you got. I tried to not to miss a stream. Sent those pics promised you email. Yeah, Wayne, I got those. I'm going through them. So, in fact, I had you pulled up, but my computer restarted. So I will have to get back to it and pull it back up. And I appreciate you not missing a live stream, man. I've noticed you've been here almost every time. I don't know how in the world you're doing it. Mark said, I'll be growing a large spare room in my house and have the ability to control the temp, airflow, and humidity. So, for starters, blocks or hanging bags. Shelving and lighting will be limited at first. Hanging bags work just fine. I actually like hanging bags. The side fruiting's nice, but if you're working with sawdust, they can be really heavy on you. So, if you got a strong back, hanging bags are fun. Thomas, so before you had employees, were you guys able to go away on a long weekend vacation or even longer? How did you handle that with sales if it slowed down? So I would hire my cousin. Like, we would pick everything. Everything. If it's pins, we would leave those because those would be ready in like 3 days, but we couldn't really get away for more than 3 days at a time. So no, our first year or two, we did not really have family vacations. That said, most people seem like they're getting employees in their first 6 months or so these days. Most of my consults, because they're getting profitable a lot faster than I did. So, take that for what it is. You can also shut down for a week. A lot of your chefs will understand if you just grow a whole lot, get it to your chefs and just say, hey, we're going to be shut down for a week. You plant bags right before you leave for vacation. They just stay in there. It'll take them like 10 days before they start growing. And then you've got 10 days to get back and pick. As long as your humidity, everything else is automated. Or even longer, how did you handle that with sales if it slowed them down? Like if a vacation slowed them down? Or like if they slowed down, how did I handle that being smaller and just Samantha and I? It was easier back then. I didn't have, well, I pay a lot in payroll. So, every week, I'd say 1/5 of my income at least goes to payroll, if not 2/5. So, it was easier to take a hit when it was just Samantha and I because we were growing 600 pounds a week, and we were averaging what did it come out to? 600 pounds a week was our average, and we were selling that at $80 a case. So it'd be 60 cases. We were averaging about $4,800 a week in sales. So not bad for a couple with a profit margin of like 80%. So that was not bad. Now that was a very short time, and then we went right into hiring people, and so we actually what savings we had got got hit pretty hard. In fact, I was a little overly aggressive in hiring people when I hired them, and that ate up some stuff that some of my velocity of growth I could have had if I would just kept working it myself for longer. But as most people know about me when they work with me for a long time, I work better in short bursts. And then it's better for me to have the bare minimum to do every day to dream up new projects and breed new mushrooms and things like that. So we got out to where we got employees doing the day-to-day as fast as possible because my business stabilized once I started having people who showed up every day to do the everyday work. So I hope that helps. Mark Farrell says, I'll be purchasing some of my supplies from you. Based on my parameters, what do you suggest for strains? Any of my strains will work. As long as you can, all of the strains that I have listed on my website are strains I currently grow. All of them can grow together. Our temperature's around 65. Our humidity bottom 65% relative humidity and tops out at 85% relative humidity. And my airflow is changed out about once every 2 minutes. So, all of those should grow in about that parameter set. And you're welcome. We have a multi-pack on the website now. It's got 5 different strains. It's like $50 off. It's like $45, $50 off. Like if you went and bought them individually, this multi-pack will save you that much. Plus, it saves you on the shipping. So, Kenyas, you're very welcome. I appreciate you sending them to our page, man. And I hope you have a good day at work, man. Mark says, I understand a very long question. Thought maybe all the info would be helpful for you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I asked for, man. Needed that info. I just didn't realize it was broken up into parts. So I only read part and then, kind of asked you to clarify when you'd already clarified. How much space would you need to grow 600 pounds a week? So we top out at 900 pounds a week when we're hitting it hard and heavy and in our peak season, which is right about now. And we currently take up 800 square feet. The warehouse that we're looking at is 4,000 square feet. So, but that will not be all mushrooms. That'll be about 50%. We'll have about 2,000 square feet or maybe a little bit more for the mushrooms. And then Ben is starting a fabrication shop where he will be building mushroom equipment and other equipment for other industries. But really right now he's going to lean into the mushroom side of things, build baggers for people. We're looking at a place that's got a loading dock, so we'll be able to ship that kind of stuff, and bam, we're good to go. So, so for the space, 800 square feet is what we have and have had. When we were doing 600 pounds a week, we've got one room. It's a 12 by 12 grow room, and that one would have been that one wasn't there when we were averaging 600 pounds a week. So that 12 by 12 has bumped us up by a good 300 pounds a week. So 12 by 12, what would that be? I know it's more than 100. So 144. So 800 square feet minus 144. So we were at 656 square feet growing 600 pounds. With an oversized lab and oversized work area like that. So, Dylan says, greetings from Northern California. Thank you for all the videos. Getting close to starting my mushroom farm very soon. Slab with floor drains have been put in. And then you have got it ideal. Holy crap. I wish I had floor drains. Even the warehouse we're looking at doesn't have floor drains in it. We can probably get them made, but not there. Greetings from Northern. Oh, I read that again. Scrooge McDuck. Hi from Denmark, by the way. Hey, man. Hello, Denmark. Welcome to East Tennessee. AJ, welcome to the chat, man. You're very welcome, by the way, for doing the videos and chats. And I'm glad that you like them. As we grew our business, what were your biggest bottlenecks to production, and how did you overcome them? Labor was probably our biggest bottleneck. Just because Samantha and I used to work from like sun up to sundown. We would do all kinds of things that didn't need to be done. We would overwork ourselves. We overcomplicated everything. Read a book called The Lean Farm, which really drove it home that I needed to simplify my life and do self-care. Ben and I were talking about the way businesses grow is not to have someone in charge who is constantly doing the day-to-day, but rather someone who can project and look forward. So when I started focusing on that, getting time to do that, that's when, my business really took off. Self-care was probably our biggest bottleneck. Samantha and I was really fat because I was eating really poorly and I wasn't working out. And now I make time to work out 3 times a week. Unless I'm having a flare up of some sort, like arthritis or whatever, I back off then. I know that if I start having a flare up and I really push myself, I'll get sick. I'll get real sick. And actually, I got sick for a long time, for about 6 months, where every time I started feeling better, I'd work out and I'd just crash again. So I had to take a lot of time off, but I kept eating like I was lifting really heavy. So now that's where I got my belly back again. And now I'm lifting weights again, trying to get that belly back off. So I've got to go make a salad here in a little bit. And that's what I get to eat for dinner all night. But that being the case, as far as my biggest bottlenecks for on production, I think the hardest part was in the beginning when you're paying everything up front. People want to put you on a net 30. So you pay everything up front. By the time you deliver mushrooms to the chef and he writes you a check, you paid for all that supplies, labor, everything 30 days ago. So you're now getting paid for work you've done a month ago. And if you have a net 30, now you paid that 60 days ago. So like with farms, it's all about systematizing everything, and that was the hardest part, was putting all that money in, kind of running out of money, waiting on people who were paying me late to finally pay me. When they finally paid me, then I got a big spike in production again, and it was hard to keep that going. So what I learned was it was better to incrementally build up and keep money in savings all times. My father's advice is 3 months of bills put back. And if you have to tap into them. But as soon as you tap into them and you get out of it, put that money back. 3 months of bills put back at all times. And it's hard. I mean, we were poverty wages and we were trying to put back 3 months, and it was difficult, but it was nice. Like even if we got to $1,000, tire blows on the interstate, you can get new tires, and it was hard to build that $1,000 back, but it was good. So watching Dave Ramsey, by the way, is really good. I didn't like him at first, but I'm a really big Dave Ramsey fan. He's a good financial person to listen to, in my opinion, for building sustainable businesses and sustainable habits. And Jim says, hi, images of your mushrooms in your videos are almost unreal in their beauty. Thank you. If you like that, go check out our Instagram. Samantha and Robin do a fantastic job getting nice photos with those. Hey, moderator, there's trouble in the chat. Yep, he's got it. Do you use gypsum in the grain spawn? I don't. I get this question a lot, Rich. Actually, it's I don't use anything. It's just water and grain. I don't add gypsum to anything. We have thought about buffering. So Ben had this idea, and I haven't tested it yet, where we want to have grain spawn, and then we want to buffer it with sawdust and or soy, probably sawdust. And then in that, we're going to do a ton of liquid culture, right? So we want it to be we don't want the sawdust to be super saturated, just enough that it gets sterilized when it runs through the pressure cooker. And then we want to be able to just put a crap load of liquid culture in that bag and see what happens. Will that extra sawdust soak all that stuff up? Will that help, So that's something we're looking into, but we don't do anything else. Scrooge says, no stress. Love you too. Are you talking to me? Them? I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, we love you too, Ibrahim. I see now. Yep, I gotcha. Welcome. Dakota says, have you tried growing the plastic-eating fungi? I have not. I would like to, but I haven't. I've heard it's not a very quick eater or consumer, and it only eats a certain type of plastic. I know William Padilla Brown was growing mealworms to eat foam, like styrofoam, and he was having really good success with that. My Soap Emporium has it. Yeah, my Soap Emporium's got everything. Lenny's got everything. Can't find any cultivation info for it. Have you heard of anyone growing it successfully? Yeah, people have grown it. Alan Rockefeller, I think, grew it. I'm going to have to really try to think on that. I don't remember who it was, but there are people who do it. I don't know anything about it, though. It's never been one that like interested me enough to go ahead and take the leap when I've got so many other things going on. See, Wayne says, too much good information not to watch. I'm retired Air Force, getting into mush farming for my new job. Heck yeah, man. What is your new job? And thank you for your service. And Saltine, thanks you for your service. Bloomin' Boomin' says, MCM Fanatic from North Carolina here. You guys rock. Love the vids and knowledge you share. Much appreciated. Can you explain which humidistat you use to dial in your humidity range for the pruning room? Yes, I think it's called an Inkbird. No, I don't know. It's on the House of Hydro website. I just use the one that they have in their kit. I like that one the best. I've played with a couple others, and that one's my favorite one. I end up buying the kits pretty regularly, so I've got a bunch of these humidistats that I've never used. They just sit there because the original two I've got are still in service for years later. You're welcome, Thomas. I'm glad that answer helped. I don't actually remember what you and I were talking about. I'm getting a little tired and snotty. I don't grow morels, Robert. I don't know anyone who does. I don't personally know anyone who does. I know of people who do, and they're usually not making money on them. Well, hello, Gaming Lion Pro. Answer 10 questions correct in a row, and you'll donate $500. Well, I don't see any questions. Thanks so much for sharing so much. I love you all and can't wait to run some cultures for Moss Creek mushrooms. Yeah, Dakota, man, get to it. And Saltine's bringing back when I was talking about my belly. Yeah, it is called a dad bod, and I'm sure a few of you can feel my pain. I lose weight really easily, and I gain weight really easily, and I gain muscle really easily. In fact, little point of pride, our massage therapist recently, or I guess about a year ago, had to bump me up to a 2-hour massage because she just didn't have enough time to work on all the muscle. Makes you feel good, right? When you got that kind of muscle. Also, I know a lot of people who lift heavy, and I can lift way heavier than them when they've been lifting for years. That said, my natural strength does not protect me from injury or sickness. So, you gotta, I am a glass cannon, as they say. Back in World of Warcraft, we were talking that mages were glass cannons. They were very powerful, but they broke easily. That's me. I break easily, but I'm very powerful. Oh, love for everyone. Gotcha. And no stress for me. Thanks, Robert or Scrooge. Appreciate it. Number 1, Kimball's Camp. I'm not sure what that means, Lance. And Robert, you're very welcome. I'm glad that I put it well for you. Marco, what's your preferred method of bulk substrate pasteurization? So bulk substrate pasteurization is ultra pasteurization or steam sterilization. It's just atmospheric steam sterilization. We have an open trough. We put bags in it, pipe steam to the bottom, cover it with plastic, and then an old blanket to insulate it. And that's it. That's my preferred way to go. Ends up being 9 kilowatts for 24 hours. And for 120 blocks, a 24-hour cook is all that's needed. For 170, we do 36-hour cook. But we're looking at some other steamer models that we're probably going to go with when we go to the warehouse that will be more easily palletized. Daniel C., good day, Andrew, Moss Creek family. Hey, man, good day to you. How would one put in air exchange when PCing grain in mason jars with solid metal lids? So what I would do, if you go to Shroom Supply, they sell synthetic filter discs. And you put that synthetic filter disc on the top of the jar and use one of those white lids that you've already drilled a hole through it and just close it. And now you can pressure cook the whole thing like that. And you don't have to worry about the metal lids. No, you wouldn't have to drill a hole in it. You can just pressure cook it with the lids on and then change your lids out. But I don't see doing that if you don't have to. You're not gonna be able to grow the grain with a solid lid. You're gonna have an air hole. So my best advice, in my opinion, is to go with the white lids and get the synthetic filter disc. They sell 70 millimeter for regular mouth jars and then a 90 millimeter for the wide mouth. And I prefer working with wide mouth. It's easier to clean. And if your grain gets overgrown and it's hard to bust up, it's easier to get stuff in there to break up that spawn and get it out. Sorry, guys. I'm getting really congested all of a sudden. I might have to go blow my nose. Curiosity says, after the second flush, you just trash the block outside. What about a greenhouse, low maintenance to get some extra shroom? So you can, yeah, I mean, people do it all the time. You can even fruit it in your grow room, but we do 2 flush and done. When we're running 900 pounds a week, we're oftentimes doing 1 flush and done. So, it's all subjective what you want to do. Can you explain more on your sterilization of bulk bag process? What more do you want to know? I don't really know what more to tell you. It's just a 300-gallon trough, wooden frame in the bottom built just so the bags can sit above the floor. A couple of holes poked in the bottom so that water can drain out as the steam circulates. Steam piped into the bottom. That whole little 2x4 structure I was telling you about that's in the bottom that pulls the bags off the bottom. That allows steam to go entirely through the bottom of the steamer and then go up into the bags or around the bags to cook them. Beyond that, like I said, it's a 24-hour cook at 9. It's 9 kilowatts for 12 hours, 4.5 kilowatts for 12 hours for a total 24-hour cook for 120 blocks, 12-pound blocks. For 170 12-pound blocks, we do 12 hours at 9 kilowatts and then 24 hours at 4.5 kilowatts. It's never exact. I often go out to eat dinner with the family and come back, and the steamer's been running for 14 or 16 hours instead of 12. So, explain your retail wholesale pricing strategy. So we don't do retail anymore, but when we did, we just simplified it as much. The one we found that worked the best was simplifying as much as possible. $5 everything on your table. We had $5 quarter-pound baskets. We would weigh them out to quarter pound, but we would sell them by the basket, so we didn't ever have to worry about getting in trouble for selling by weight or anything else. Not that it's really a problem. But we weighed out to like quarter-pound baskets, and then Samantha would always throw in some extra if she wanted to make sure it looked nice and full. We'd sell it for a $5 basket, just a paper bag basket. And that was our retail strategy. As far as wholesale, we do volume like we did at the market. And we do it. It's an 18-inch box by a 12-inch by 10-inch box that we buy from Uline. Put 3 holes on the side on each side, and then roughly 3 first flush clusters fit into a box, and we sell that for $80. It comes out close. We averaged it out to $10 a pound by weighing a whole bunch of them, selling them by weight at first, then switched to selling by volume, and then explained to our chefs that it is much easier to get them good quality biomass instead of selling them by the pound, because then we're selling them expensive water. Curiosity says, I saw old used block fruiting crazy after a big rain and thunder, electricity at play. So I don't know that it's electricity. It may be, but I mean, our blocks, when they go outside, they will fruit like crazy. We get caps that are, that big kind of stuff. They're gigantic. They're usually like the blues come out like almost black in color because they're so blue. We actually sell that. We go out there and pick them all the time and sell those for sure. That doesn't get counted into our regular production. But they're honestly meatier, better mushrooms when they're grown outdoors like that. The problem is getting them to fruit like that consistently. I'm new here. Are you growing physic mushroom or what? Psychedelic? I'm not growing psychedelic. Physical mushrooms, I am growing physical mushrooms, and we are selling those. Max Harrell says, only allowed 200 characters, hence the multiple comments. Lol, I understand your shipping is challenging. How far are you on shipping with the bulk liquid culture? That is a great value. Yeah, liquid culture is like I said, it's oftentimes next day, but it's never like past a week at this point. I don't have it listed. Liquid culture I don't have listed on the website unless it's ready to go. In fact, I've got a lot of liquid cultures that are downstairs that aren't listed on the website because we haven't gotten them there yet. Excuse me. Privet Ukraine. Why do you want me to say Privet Ukraine? Hey there. I was wondering what temp range for your King Blue Oyster. I know you grow your grow room's around 65-ish, but I was wondering if there's a room for higher temp. There is a room for higher temp. I have grown it up to 75. I have probably pushed it into like 78, 79. It starts getting blotch, like most oysters. It starts struggling with blotch around when you get above 75. But that's considered warm weather for most oysters. So that's actually a pretty good range considering I've grown it down just above freezing and I've grown it up to about 75. That's a huge range on the King Blue. What is your maintenance routine on your fogger, and how often do you have to replace things? Heard you say you have purchased a lot of the kits. So yeah, I purchased the kits because I always like having spare parts. So I buy more than I need to. Our maintenance routine on the humidifier is we open it up, cut the water off, vacuum the whole thing out, spray everything down with the pressure washer, not the discs on the humidifier. Spray it all down, vacuum the water out of it again, bleach it, refill it, check the discs if there's a lot of lime growth on them. We'll have to replace those, and I have a whole video on me replacing those. You can go check out on the channel. But it's roughly once a week that we break the thing down and clean it. Now our humidifier, I replace my discs maybe once every 3 months. We don't have much of a problem replacing discs anymore like we used to. We used to have a much bigger one. In the wintertime, we replace more than we do in the summer because the air's drier. But it averages out to about once every 3 months. Excuse me, guys. Does my laminated flow hood suck air in or blow air out in front? I've never had one, and I can't see airflow. Sure, there's a squirrel cage fan running. It pulls air in through the top and pushes it out the bottom. So the air is coming towards you as you're working. That's clean air coming towards you, so you've got that clean airspace. If it was sucking air that way, it would actually be pulling air off of you, one of the dirtiest things in the room, and putting it all over your cultures. Robert, I think you need some colloidal silver to get rid of your cold. I need something. I don't know. I just woke up with it this morning. I didn't think I had a cold, but now that you mentioned, I did feel a little bit off this morning. Thanks for the first answer. One more humidity question, then back to work. How often do you release humidity to maintain the 60 to 85 range if you exhaust the air twice every 5 minutes? I have my humidifier on a humidistat. It just does it automatically. So I just set the range, and it just turns on and off. And it's going to depend entirely on the humidity of the air that's coming in. As air is coming into my grow room, if it's really dry, my humidifier is going to run all the time. If it's pretty wet and moist, which air around here in this wetland kind of country that we live in, if it's like that, then obviously it's going to be able to catch up pretty quick. But, I mean, we're replacing the air every 2.5 minutes. There's still a lot. It takes a while for that air to move. Like, you can see the fog will come out, fill the room, and then as the fogger cuts off, you can see it's like a wall of fog that just moves across the room. So the type of boiler specifically, we use a 55-gallon drum that we built out to be a boiler. It's not, we didn't buy it, so I can't tell you it specifically. It's just a homemade boiler. There are tons of videos on it on YouTube. You can look up how to make a 55-gallon drum boiler or something like that. There's tons of them. Hey, Pious Science Beans. Glad you're vibing, man. Glad to have you on the chat. Screw says, I heard that morels come up twice as many after lightning strikes in nature. Yeah, so there is something to be said for the electricity and the fruiting. But as far as, like, your blocks outside, I'm not sure what it is. Hey, Jason's on. If It's Fish is Jason, by the way. If It's Fish, it's a company that he runs where he sells aquatic plants and fish and stuff to the people here locally for their ponds and such. So we got another moderator, thankfully. We're protected against trolls today. AETPM, howdy from South Texas. So my jars are fully colonized. Should I do grain to grain, or how do I move grain into master's mix? Yeah, I mean, you can go grain to grain to expand it. But once you have as much grain as you want, then you put it into your fruiting blocks. And how do you move it into it? You open your bag in a clean area and dump your spawn in. So, I mean, it's very simple. It's kind of like cutting up a potato, planting it in the ground. All the steps are pretty simple. What's up, Diago? Also, you ever listen to Amon Amarth? I have listened to Amon Amarth. I like some of their stuff. I don't like all of it. I'm not a huge heavy metal fan, believe it or not. You guys hear all the electronic music in my videos. I am much more into that kind of stuff. So, I'm kind of girly like that. I also love bluegrass, like a lot of old music. I like some Johnny Cash. I love like Wardruna, things like that. So as far as like like heavy metal, like I like Manowar, which I know is old classic. I've tried to listen to what was it that the lead singer of Wardruna, Einar Selvik was part of Golgoroth. Golgoroth. I've tried listening to that. I can't listen to it. So let's see. Also looking forward to the Agar cloning series. Absolutely. Robin told me I sent a bunch of links to her today because I think the one's going out tomorrow. And that one's not on cloning. It's just on I'm not sure if she's doing the Petri dishes or the agar slants first. But I gave her that footage, and she said it was enough to break into 2. So we're going to break that one into 2 videos. Glad to hear you have good luck with your humidistat. I've heard of spores causing them to go bad. Has that ever been a problem for you? I just walk up. My humidistat's outside the grow room, and my sensors on the and just clean it off occasionally. Especially if things seem like they're not running smoothly. Hi, I want to grow an edible wild mushroom that grows here in Peru. How can I determine if its growing conditions? As far as I know, it hasn't been done yet, so there's no information about it. So, Raphael, that's going to be difficult, but I would just look at the time of year that it fruits. And at the time of the year that it fruits is your fruiting parameters that you start with. I would clone it on Petri and then, on agar and see if you can't get it to grow out cleanly. It may be that you haven't heard people growing it because it's a symbiotic mushroom of sorts and needs a plant to grow with. Most of the edible varieties that people grow in their grow rooms are saprophytes. It means that they eat dead material. So if it lives off of a living thing, it's going to require more work to get it to grow. That said, you should absolutely try it. Pato, how much grain spawn you use for a 12-pound bag? Thanks for the info, bro. Yeah, so Jason and Laura were running earlier today. If you do, they were doing 1 5-pound bag of spawn for 20 12-pound blocks. That said, we're over spawning right now because we're catching up on block orders. And like I said before, earlier in this, we had a bad cook. And so we're actually pushing hard. We're also just pushing harder because it's peak season. I'm trying to get our numbers up. And we're talking about moving into a warehouse. I want everything running smoothly and overproducing before we get to the warehouse. So that said, I don't even, what's that rate come out to? 25 pounds to 20 12-pound bags. Is that like a 5%, something like that? I don't know. I can go back to it. I can go to like a 1% spawn run, and we've done that plenty of times and had really good results. So oftentimes when things are going really, really well, I'll do 1 5-pound bag of grain spawn to 50 12-pound bags. Now that's whenever I want to slow things down a little bit. Or like just save money on spawn. Like when I was buying spawn, I would oftentimes go at that rate because it just saves a little bit of money. Though probably not the best way to go. In Japan, they'll give electricity shock to shiitake blocks. They've seen an increase in yield. There's a good study about it. I don't know with other species. Yeah, I saw that with shiitake. I've not seen it with oysters. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but I've definitely seen it with shiitake. Man, I might have to go take a decongestant real quick. Thanks, Andrew. I'll watch the replay of the Q&A later on tonight. I hope to purchase some cultures from you in the future. My wife has no idea of my plans for the garage. Keep with the great work. Well, I will tell you, man, inform her early and inform her often, and things will go much smoother. So, White Buffalo. Is White Buffalo a band? Let me pull it up. We won't listen to it. I don't know if I'm allowed to listen to music on a live stream or not, or if they'll shut us down for that, Sometimes they do that. White Buffalo, House of the Rising Sun. Okay. I'll check them out. I have not heard them, but I do like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson does I think it's the Lost Dog Street Band, was his band. They do a version of The Mountain by Steve Earle. That is my favorite version of The Mountain. So thanks for answering some of the questions I never thought about asking. You're very welcome, Lance. If you think of any more, then let me know, and I'll probably answer 3 more on top of that because you guys won't be able to get me to shut up about mushrooms. Some ZZ Top. I do like ZZ Top, and I am so jealous of the beards, man. So jealous of the beards. Eventually, I'll get there. But then again, we keep talking about we're going to go to Mars. I just keep thinking about how in the world am I going to have a beard and wear a spacesuit? Like maybe just roll the thing up I don't know. Check out Native Howl. It's thrash grass. Okay, I could. Okay, Native Howl. I'll look it up. Just so you guys know, there is a local band to here that I went to high school with the guys, and I was listening to them back. I used to go watch them play, and I really, really liked them. It's called Cutthroat Shamrock. So it's kind of like bluegrassy, Irishy, folksy punk. So hope you guys enjoy them. But Cutthroat Shamrock's a good one. You can find them here on YouTube. Is it more work to use hardwood fuel pellets or you use sawdust? I use hardwood fuel pellets. It is way less work to use hardwood fuel pellets. Sawdust is good if you can't get pellets, but pellets, even though they're more expensive, are less expensive in labor, so they're worth it. Corrosion of Conformity. Jason, is that a band? Or are you like telling me that I'm conforming and therefore corrosive? Corrosion of Conformity is apparently a band, so he is not insulting his boss. The universe gives back 100-fold with what's given. You rock, brother. Yeah, thank you, Ocean Air. I appreciate that. That's been my experience so far. Enoki, thanks for the clear up from your XP experience. Is there any type? You're speaking gamer speak now. Is there any type of restaurants that prefer certain shrooms? I recall you said that some pizzerias like smaller ones and such. Yes, Samantha has detailed notes on the front of her refrigerator. We constantly are asking our chefs what they like, what they don't like. Is there anything we can do to further, your experience with us, that kind of thing? Whatever they say, Samantha writes down. She'll oftentimes write it on the refrigerator. We haven't gotten too many new restaurants because we've kind of stabilized for where we're at. And so there's not been a lot of that going. But I'll tell you guys that one of my dreams right now, and let's just go into like dreamscape for a second, and we'll just let the questions keep scrolling up, and then I'll build back because I was getting close to the bottom anyways. One of my things that I've always wanted to do is I read about this guy, forgot his last name all of a sudden, Wild Boar Farms. He runs Wild Boar Farms. He breeds tomatoes. I've always thought, how cool would it be to grow a variety of each one of his tomatoes, right? That we can, you can't grow all of them. He's got like 10,000 varieties or something like that, but pick a bunch, grow them, take them to chefs with number cards and questionnaires, have them try them and rate them on flavor, texture, etc., usefulness, and have them give you the scorecards back. And the entire time that you're selling these things, you're going out into the garden and you're crossing every variety with every variety, right? Now, you save the seeds from those crosses and you just put them in your seed storage. Now, when it comes time to start your seeds, you go back to those questionnaires that you've stored up. You look at those questionnaires and you go, man, our chefs all consistently like this and this and this and this and this, right? And so these three types they really like. So let's find all of the common crosses between those. Plant those out. Grow those. Now have them rate them. Whichever ones they like, keep the ones from that, right? And just keep drilling down. What if you could do that with mushrooms? You could have like a literal taste of Knoxville tomato, a taste of Knoxville pepper, a taste of Knoxville mushroom, designed for and by the chefs of Knoxville. Can you imagine if you did that in your area and you just kind of quietly did this and didn't tell them you were designing the perfect tomato for them or whatever? Just, oh my gosh, just go, that just gets me excited. I love that idea. I hope that helps. I know that was kind of going off the rails a little bit. Thanks for your answer. It helps a lot. People here say that it grows where lightning strikes. Do you think it has something to do with that? Probably. It's not. It's there already. The lightning may trigger it. Lightning is a known trigger for mushrooms. Clutch. Yes, I've listened to Clutch. I like Clutch. One of my favorites by them is the Regulator, which is that's one of those old grandfather clocks, right? And it is motivating music. Jason says it is a band, so Corrosion of Conformity is a band. Okay. Does your backs have any air exchange before you put them into the bags? Do your bags have any air exchange before putting them into fruiting? They do in incubation. Yeah. The ventilation video that just went out, I'll talk about incubation. You go watch that and it'll explain everything for sure. Fly on albatross. And Jason said that I believe the albatross is in me. Is this Something you guys like. I'm not getting this. I know. Bags. Oh, okay. Yeah, Scrooge, I got you. It just took me a second. I love some Flogging Molly. Yes, I love Flogging Molly. I do like Flogging Molly. I don't listen to them a lot. I listen to them every day, all day when I worked at the fish hatchery. And now, like, I love it when they come on, but it's one of those things I think I burnt myself out on. It takes me a little bit, like, I don't just go and find them. I do when spring comes on. If you guys go on YouTube and you look up Andrew Reed Spring Mix, right, you'll find my spring playlist. And there's a whole bunch of stuff of Irish, Celtic, bluegrass, kind of rock. I like Yellow Wolf. I like some of his stuff. It's very kind of, I like his bluegrassy rap stuff. I like that a lot. And Screech, don't worry about it, man. I butcher English all the time. I'm Scots-Irish, man. That's what we do. So, well, I'm East Tennessean. That's what we do. We're from the Scots-Irish. It's like a full-time job to me, huh? Like you talking about the tomato? Yeah, that would be a full-time job. I like this wrench guy. Yeah. Well, there you go. You and Jason might just get along. Jason's a cool guy. He's got a screw loose. Do you watch the other YouTuber mushroom videos? Not as much as I would like, Indigo. Not as much as I would like. Not as much as I should. So I do watch them, but I focus on my own stuff first, and then I go back and I watch occasionally. Plus, I'll be honest, I don't. I get a little irritated sometimes when I watch some of the other mushroom growers. We'll leave it at that because I'm friends with most of them. You'll check out that vid. Cool. Yeah, check out that vid. Radical Mycology has one paragraph on the electric mushroom. Yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, go read Radical Mycology, man. And he talks about some of the electricity there. It's one paragraph's not a lot out of that book, though. I'll warn you. Hi from Belgium. Quick question. Once harvested, how do you keep... Oh, and by the way, hi from East Tennessee, and welcome to the chat. Once harvested, how do you keep mushrooms fresh? Do you have a cooler where you store your production before it's sold? Yes, we do. It's a 2-door gas station fridge. I actually showed it during the last live stream. And we have a whole bunch of... Samantha's got notes all along the front that talk about what chefs like what they don't like, etc. So that way, as we're pulling boxes out, we know this is a pretty box of whatever. Chef Brian at Adopo wants that. You know, that kind of thing. Covers the ranges on it. Oh, okay. So he does cover the ranges on the electric mushroom. Interesting. I've not read that part yet. But then again, I tend to have a tendency of not reading his book. I go through and I read sections. And right now I can't look it up because you guys are sitting on Radical Mycology to lift you up. Dropkick Murphys. I love Dropkick Murphys, Jason. Thank you. Yeah, Dropkick Murphys are very cool. Oh, they're coming to Nashville. All right. Yeah. I'll tell you that Laura and I were talking about Wardruna in Charlotte. So that would be neat. And Dropkick Murphys are in Nashville. Okay. Oh, man, we're going to have to be careful. Everybody taking off for a concert as a business, huh? Justin, are you doing fish this year? So, Justin, I'm not going to do fish this year. In fact, my big tubs that you guys saw last year, Jason got those. He'll be doing fish this year. So maybe we'll be able to do some YouTube videos with Jason over at his place. We'll talk to him about it, see if he wants to do it. I think that Jason should be doing some fish. Jason's a very good fish guy. I think he should be doing some fish and shipping them out across the country, that kind of stuff. So I haven't played with the idea of an open air recovery room for things past 2 flushes. They just do it out in the compost pile. It's one of those things. I just don't have the need for it. So fish are our friends, not food. Yeah, Jason, screw that. I like them as food better, though they are pretty friends too. And it's always good to surround yourself with beautiful, pretty people. Let's see. Like fish. So on the open air recovery room, I just haven't. I'd considered it for a very short time, but not seriously. I just don't have the time to manage a grow room that's not performing as well as, my primary ones. Now, there are people who go to mushroom farms like mine and buy the spent blocks. They have rooms that are like a more forgiving type rooms. It's typically other types of farms, like permaculture farms and stuff, and they'll go and put these blocks in different places and let them fruit 3, 4, 5 times, and they sell that. So, and I I know people who go buy shiitake blocks off a farm. They pay $1 a piece. They go get them off the racks, and then they go fruit them again. They soak them, slap them again, fruit them again, and they get good yields. And for them, because they're buying the block for $1, it's worth the labor they're putting in. But for the primary farm who made the blocks, it's not worth the labor to do it all over again, typically. You ever grow monster pumpkins? I've never grown monster pumpkins. I've grown large ones. I tend to do a lot better with the jack-o'-lantern varieties. So, Andrew, what's with the fake beard? Interpol on your case again? Yeah, well, you know. I always figure it's better to have a beard so when you do something illegal and the cops are after you, you can shave. Dropkick Murphy is awesome too. Yeah, Wayne, I agree. I think it's cool to go with that. And you're welcome, Klein. I hope that helps. I like it's just a 2-door gas station fridge like you would get just with the shelves taken out. So I do the same thing with the book. I thumb through it and get lost reading on the subject. Yeah, so that's radical mycology again. Yeah, man, it's just so much, and it's kind of boring to try to read from cover to cover. Like when I could read, I hated going in. I hate learning about stuff I'm not interested in. It's one of the reasons why I dropped out of college. I just hated it. I hated it. I learned the thing. I find it's so easy for me to learn. In fact, it irritates me a little bit sometimes, how long it takes some other people to get it sometimes. But that said, I can't learn things that I'm not interested in without great effort. And so it's easier for me to just lean into what I'm good at and just read the sections that I'm interested in because I'll voraciously read those and then skip the other stuff. And usually I'll come back later and fill in some of the gaps in my knowledge. But I just didn't, I just didn't work. It just didn't work well in that hierarchy of school, of the academia. Mango Fever, does your liquid culture mixer spin without a magnetic spinner thing? No. So don't buy it from Shroom Supply. Buy the magnetic stirrers off of Amazon. That's the cheapest place to get them. Shroom Supply is good for a lot of things, but that stuff is not one of the things they are good at. So I would go to Amazon. You can buy like a 10-pack for $20, and it's like $2 a piece. And I mean, you're gonna think, man, these are reusable. You're not, even if it was $7 each, it'd still be worth it. So true on the shave thing. Oh, gotcha. And thank you, ASMR Addict. I appreciate it. A lot of people like my beard, actually. I get hit on more since I started wearing a wedding band and had a beard than I ever have my entire life. Like openly hit on. It's weird, really weird. Once I got the tattoo for Samantha's rune, bind rune. I stopped wearing the ring, and I haven't noticed a precipitous drop. So we'll see. Maybe it's the beard. Do you know about any mycorrhizal strains to grow to inoculate soil? I know that there is a book. Oh man, what is the book? It's by. If you guys will give me 1 second, since I'm caught up on most of this, I will go grab that book and I will show it to you, Pato. So give me 1 second. I knew his name was Michael, but I was afraid that whenever I was saying Michael, I was thinking of Michael Pollan. It is Mycorrhizal Planet by Michael Phillips. This book has got tons and tons of information. I have barely gotten into this thing. It's a beautiful book, and I desperately want to read it. It just hasn't been high on my priority list. Look at that. He goes into the types. He's got really nice photos. Some of this stuff in his book is the very reason why I started getting into microscope photography, microscopy, and taking pictures through a microscope. That said, I'm still not very good at it. I'm working on it. I'm working on the dissecting scope primarily first, but it's a fantastic book. I wish I could have more time to devote to it, but I've been having to devote things that are either self-care and that I really enjoy them, or that directly apply. So I'm reading a lot of studies right now on breeding different types of mushrooms. Primarily right now I'm reading about black poplar breeding. There haven't been a lot of studies done on oyster mushroom breeding that I've seen, but there are a lot that have been done on black poplar, especially out of India, which I was really surprised to see. I didn't realize that would be a popular mushroom out in India, but I guess, they just love mushrooms in general, it seems like. So, Bearded Bullets just ordered some cultures from you and one of the sweet mugs. Hey, yeah, man. I saw your order coming through, though I didn't realize that was you. Guys, you guys are killing it on the website. Like, after this live stream, I've got to go downstairs and do like, oh my gosh, what is it? It's something like 75 syringes I've got to pull today. So you guys are, thank you so much. You're paying for my kids to go to college. So, and I hope that you feel like it was a good return on your investment. So, not my kids going to college, the product that you're getting. I'm not asking you to send my kids to college, but I appreciate you doing it. Let's see. Yeah, Mango, check Amazon for sure. Amazon's a good place to get a lot of stuff whenever you're first starting out. Fisher Scientific is a good place to go when you want to buy bulk. But sometimes you have to pay an exorbitant price to get good stuff through Fisher. They're expecting you to be a real laboratory with government backing, I guess. Spending as much time with us as you are in the lab, huh? Thanks. Always fine. Yeah, I'm trying to. My job right now is to do the lab work and order fulfillment and to build the online community. So, and Robin and Melanie help me out with that a lot. Samantha helps me when she can. Everyone else is dedicated to keep the day-to-day of the operations going. Specifically, my job is to kind of show you those day-to-day operations and provide you with that information. So I hope that I'm doing a good job. If I'm not, don't tell Samantha. She will kill me. Or she'll replace me. Teaming with Microbes is a great book. I can't remember who wrote that. She's a woman. I watch her on YouTube. Her name is. I was really hoping that would work. She's not. She's not coming to mind. Her name. She is amazing. She's got an amazing series online. It's a little dry, as most scientific things are, but if you just sit down and watch a little bit every day, you'll come away with learning so much about microscopy. You wouldn't even believe it. And soil science. She's a soil scientist primarily. So you mentioned before, bags will still, if you go straight from liquid culture to bulk, will stall. Have you tried mixing your bulk substrate with some grains or something else? Not yet. That side of the experimentation is on hold. I've got a lot of other experiments going, and right now, because I've already done the experimentation and I'm now in the process of producing new mushroom strains, my job right now is to produce those new mushroom strains and then go get us going in the warehouse. Once we get the warehouse, I'll be going back to a lot more different types of experimentation once we've stabilized. But before that, everything is being poured into keeping production at the highest point possible, making sure you guys are happy with what's going on currently, getting these new strains out to you guys, and then warehouse move total. So I'm not able to do as much experimentation as I would like. So with new substrates, I know the Master's Mix works. I know going from liquid culture to grain to Master's Mix has been such an improvement for me that I don't have a need to go direct to bulk substrate yet. Though Ben and I are already talking about some cool infrastructure, which we're not going to share for a while until it's tested. I've been finding these chats quite nice and have good, useful info. Thank you, Bob. I'm glad. I hope that is my endeavor, is to be useful. Mango, I don't know if you've seen the chat. Wayne says that they have a 11-piece 1-inch stir bar pack on Amazon for $19.99. I think that's the one I bought. So, or I bought it twice maybe. And he said that helps you find it. So yeah, man, that's I think that's where I got mine. I like those a lot. If it's the one I'm thinking about, I even had one with a little stir bar retriever that I was able to get. And yeah, Scrooge, I have considered it. I've seen people use grain pockets, inoculate into the grain pockets. Once those are grown in, then they shake the bag up. My whole thought with liquid culture is I want to get away from shaking entirely. So it's not really that big of an improvement to just be able to like I can just inoculate it with solid, grain transfers. Why go and try to, I don't know, add another step to the liquid culture process? The liquid culture to grain to bulk substrate is such an improvement already. No, we can't share links on the chat. I don't think it'll let you, number one. And number two, please don't. You'll get us shut down. I can't share links and comments or chats or anything like that. That's why Eric Myers got shut down the first time. Hey, you're welcome, Pato. Robert says, mycorrhizae had a lot to do with growing of monster pumpkins. My biggest been so far, 1,500 pounds. Are you kidding me, Robert? That's incredible. Or at least to me. I mean, I don't know if it's incredible. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's tiny in the monster pumpkin community or something. But my gosh, that sounds like you'd have to have a forklift move it. What kind of pumpkin pie? You could literally put a woman in a pumpkin at that point. What was it? Something pumpkin eater. Peter pumpkin eater. Had a wife and couldn't keep her. You could literally put Peter's wife in that pumpkin. Bags will stall. Yes. I figured what you meant, man. No worries. Andrew, where are you getting the info for breeding mushrooms? Scientific papers? Can you hook me up with a direction to study? I've been looking into this for some time now. Yeah, just go. So there's Google and Google Scholar. And then I can't remember the name of it. The Odin Project has it up. If you go to the Odin Project, you can look at it. They have any studies that you would have to pay for. You can go through that link and find the studies, and you'll be able to get the study. We wouldn't have to pay for it normally, most studies. That said, go to Google Scholar and look up oyster mushroom breeding or Pleurotus austriatus breeding new strains, generating new strains. They have some on Enoki. They have some on how to cause mutagenesis. They have some on black poplar. Look it up by scientific name. Typically, of the mushroom you're interested in breeding, you'll find more papers on it. Scrooge just sent him to trade school. Yeah, that's my plan, man. So from very early on, like let's say, from very early on, I've always been kind of a seller. I've always loved selling stuff. Like when I was in school, I used to take stuff to school and sell it. I used to make things and sell it to people. When I was in high school and I got my car, the first thing I started doing was taking orders the day before. And on my way into school the next morning, I would bring in sausage biscuits, coffees, whatever was on sale. I'd buy a bunch of them and I'd resell them individually at the school. And that got shut down by the principal 3 times. And after that, he definitely got pissed at me, and I had to stop completely. The first time he asked me, he told me not to be doing it there. So I went and I started selling it out of my trunk in the parking lot. Then he pulled me out of class and told me I couldn't be doing it on school property. So then I set up across the street from school property, and people would drive in and they would buy their sausage biscuits and stuff. And then he pulled me in. He said, "Do you know why I keep telling you to stop?" And I said, "No, why do you keep telling me to stop?" And he said, "Because we have the school store where students go to learn to do business. And that's the place where you need to go to learn to do business. We're trying to teach them about business, and you're taking all of our customers. So if you're taking all your customers, like, how are they supposed to learn about business?" To which I was thinking, isn't that business? Like, if you guys didn't grow the crappiest, like, sausage biscuits I've ever had, grow them, make. Oh my gosh, wake up. If you make such terrible sausage biscuits and cookies and stuff, then I wouldn't be able to trounce you guys that way. So, I mean, I've always loved selling stuff. I always knew that I wanted to do it. I grew up, my dad was a door-to-door salesman. I'd go with him on the weekends to a place called Newport, and he would knock on the doors, and he sold life insurance that way and worked his way up to owning his own agency, which he owns an agency now. And, yeah, I think trade school is a good way to go. My oldest boy loves building things. My middle son actually just found out recently was diagnosed with dyslexia, but you show him how to do something like origami. You show him how to do it one time, and he can make 1,500 different variations on the thing. And that kid makes bank. He sits at home and he makes origami different things. Like for Valentine's Day, he makes origami hearts. For Christmas, he made origami ornaments. And he takes them to school. He'll make $50 in a day selling paper. And elementary school age, making $50 a day. That's more than some people I know who work adults, like working McDonald's and stuff. That's crazy. He just amazes me. That one. My oldest one amazes me with like his mechanical ability. Like he's just constantly tinkering, resoldering. Like he'll take toys and resolder it all together. I think that a lot of this stuff, whenever you see that in somebody, like it does seem like it comes out very later on in life, and you don't even realize that it's your strength, until you come out later in life. So I realized that was a completely different way. And just because I was bragging on my boys, I'm bragging on my girl for a second. That girl is like her mama. She works harder than any man I've ever met. That girl will take full loads of laundry up and down the stairs, and it's just like she'll just take it one step at a time, and she's got a dedication I've never seen before in a kid. So I'm a proud papa for sure. Get back to your questions now before my numbers start going down. Ben should build you nope. Do you know that you have a green orb monitoring everything you do over your shoulder? That thing? Yep. That is a little bauble filled with sand from a beach. So I do know that I have it there. It watches over me. I have a security camera right over there that's watching me. And we have security cameras all over this place that text me and stuff in there. They sense motion. So yes, I'm always being watched. I just got used to being on camera all the time anymore. Ben should build you a shaker device. He is on it. Already on it, actually. In fact, you guys have seen it. It's an old dryer sitting in the lab. I found the 2-inch stir bar. Mango, I will warn you, I hope you haven't hit buy yet, that 2-inch stir bar is not the best thing. I find that my stirs throw them a lot of times. The 1-inch stir bar is what I have found to be the best. I've seen a 20% drop in weight per day for mushrooms kept in my fridge. Is that normal, and how to lessen that rate? So I don't know how you currently have them, but the best way I found is those cardboard boxes that we have, we poke 3 holes on it both sides, primarily because if we don't poke the holes, they get sopping wet as they condensate in the box. And if we do more holes than that, they dry out and they lose weight really, really fast. But it's another reason why I sell by volume and not by weight. Because, I mean, you got to think that biomass is biomass, right? Just because it's lost water doesn't mean it's actually lost biomass. Material's still there. So yeah, having the proper boxes or whatever will slow down your rate of loss. What's the max LC in milliliters you can put in a bag without oversaturation of medium? So I don't know what the max is. I've never gone to the max, but I'll say anything over 10 milliliters to me performs poorly compared to 10 milliliters. I've done 10 milliliters in a pound of grain spun, and I've done it in 5 pounds. And for some reason, that one single syringe of 10 milliliters seems like it's about the magic number. I know you've answered us plenty of times, not trying to be annoying, but has Ben made any progress on the schematics of the bagger? He has made progress. He is not finished. And you're not being annoying, guys. I know. I honestly, I probably should have waited to announce the bagger plans until we were much closer. But I just wanted you guys to know that they were on the way. They are still on the way. Ben's got pictures loaded on his computer. He's been typing stuff out. I've seen him working on it. It's just, it takes a long time to get anything done. Like, it's one thing for him to build it. It's one thing for him to build schematics for him to build, but for him to hand it off to you guys, it's one of those things where he's trying to make sure that it's clear instruction, that he's got all that stuff, plus building baggers for people. Plus, Ben's got a lot on him. And I try to take loads off of him when I can, but he's got a skill set I just don't have and can't help him with. So, you ever tried doing self-healing ports for bags of red RTV high temp silicone? Yes, I have. It's great. I prefer the pre-made ones that you just slip into a lid, and then for the red RTV now, I just use that around my syringe filters when I set them in place. Other than that, I don't use it anymore. Thanks, Scrooge. Yeah, it was pretty fun, and yeah, man, I like my family for sure. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it. I feel like it's good parenting. Is there a brand of security camera you like? So the one I use is called. They're like $25 at Walmart. $25 a pop. They're 720p. I don't put it anywhere where I want privacy, like my bedroom. You know, don't want any videos of me sold out there on the internet. Not that you guys would want those either, anyways. You can just imagine the hacker that got that view, huh? But they're like $25 a pop. Genie, I think, is the one I currently use, and there's a few modifications that you can do. Just look it up to your app to make it a little bit more secure. And they're great little cameras. They're cheap. I put them everywhere, so you just gotta have access to Wi-Fi. Can I make you a mod, or can I have subs? Well, Alex DTD. My gosh, that's hard to say. Alex DTD. I don't want to be making people mods all the time. I have enough for now. If I need more, maybe we can talk about it. Or what do you mean can you have subs? Like, do you want some of my subscribers? Hell, man, 40% of my audience isn't subscribed, so I have a hard enough time getting those myself. Let's see. 1 inch okay. Oh, 1 inch okay. What do you mean 1 inch okay? And no worries, Indigo, about the all caps. Let's see. Mango fever. Oh, the 1 inch. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the 1 inch third bars. Yep, those are the way to go. Scrooge, you accept crypto yet? If you get an Ethereum address, I'll send you a tip. I don't know anything about crypto, man. I don't know how to accept it. I don't know how to get a wallet or anything with it. So you'll just, maybe somebody can get me some information on that, how to set one up. I don't have a problem accepting it. I just don't know anything about it. Hey, brother, could you describe some of the identifying characteristics of bacteria on a petri dish? Sure, a wet, greasy-looking spot. Typically, if you see like a yellow, greasy-looking spot, that's oftentimes yeast. Bacteria oftentimes grows in a very nice circle. It doesn't grow linearly or fuzzy. Fuzzy is either your mycelium or your mold. Yeast is typically like yellow or cream colored, growing out. Bacteria can come in a wide range of colors. I actually don't have to deal with bacteria much. For some reason, I don't have much in the way of bacterial problems. Most of my problems are molds. But even that is not much of a problem anymore since the new lab. So if you look up bacterial, go on Google and go to Google Images and look up mycelium on Petri, right? Pull up another tab and look up bacteria on Petri, and then pull up another tab and look up yeast on Petri. And that's what I did. I mean, you'll get a really nice, you can look at one tab after another and really kind of look up lichen on Petri, all of these different things. Like you can look up different organisms that are growing out on that, and it will help you build your identifying faculties. So Scrooge, how does an orb full of sand wonder or levitate on wonder? It is, if you look very carefully, there's a point at the ceiling which it's attached, and there's a little line that goes to it. That's a hook that's up there. It used to have a hanging plant that would get light from that window. So, what, you get a lot of creepy mushroom stalkers? Lance, you wouldn't believe it, actually. Seriously, since I started the YouTube channel, I have some weird stuff happen, and I'm still sub 10,000 subscribers. I'm going to have to build a panic room. We get up to if we ever get up to 60 to 100,000 subscribers, it's there are some oddities that happen when you get out and be in public. Let's see. You sell by case and use cardboard boxes with 3 holes on each side. For sale and storage, you use a paper or plastic or anything else in the box. Nope, I use nothing else in the box. Yep, that box is the end-all be-all of mushroom storage sales. And we only steal for a day or two, so. Oh, it's a trick, naturally. Yep, I am all about illusion. See? Watch it as I slowly. Oh! Can't even do that right. Looking forward to your culture slant video. Long-term storage has been a bit confusing to me. Yeah, It's not nearly as confusing as people make it out to be. And it's really just because it's an unfamiliar concept to you. It's really quite simple. Cryogenic storage is actually much better, and I would like to get there. Main cabin stem, I know they do that. We're planning on getting to that point at some point. I have had very little in the way of investment. I have no sugar daddies. I have no anything. So when we started this business, it was entirely off the cash flow of Samantha's job until we got paid up for a year on our bills. And then we just launched off into the void and ran off cash flow ever since. We've made mistakes, so everything that we've had to do has really been, on that. You need to run, Wayne? Okay, man. Yeah, man, we'll enjoy the stream. You can enjoy your day, man. And thank you for everything. We appreciate you. So, so like I said, it's not something that's like there's ways to make it more complicated. It's not as complicated as people make it out to be. So I've got culture sitting in my fridge in plastic baggies under a bunch of vegetables. Not ideal. It's not ideal. Nothing I do is ideal at this point because we've always operated in poverty, so to speak. Do you go from LC to fruiting bag, or is there a step in between? I go to grain first. I make grain spawn with liquid cultures and then go to fruiting blocks. And you're welcome. How many wet pounds of grain spawn do you use per week, and a rough estimates per 12-pound bag? So, Kenya's, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'll see if I can give a better answer for it. One 5-pound bag of grain for me goes anywhere from 20 to 50 12-pound blocks. So it varies by a large degree. I do 1 5-pound bag of grain to 20 blocks if I want it to grow in really fast. I do it 1 to every 50 if I want to save that spawn, and I need to lower my spawn usage. Bags that are grown in or inoculated at that rate grow in slower. And in summertime, you'll find that I increase my spawn run during wintertime to get things to grow in faster. It's my peak season, so I need things faster. But also the heat generated inside the bag is offset by the cold air. When you're talking summertime, I need to conserve and not be generating so much heat inside the bag. So I'll pull back to like a 1 5-pound bag to 50 12-pound bags. How much grain spawn am I using per week right now? Well, I can do a rough estimate right now just for you without looking at my lab notes. So right now I'm producing 290 12-pound bags. If I divide that by 20, it comes out to 14 and a half 5-pound bags. So it's somewhere around there. Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Scrooge, is that a wedding ring tattoo? It is a wedding ring tattoo. That is Samantha's rune. And she is talking about getting my bind rune on hers. She has fought getting any sort of visible tattoo. She likes the good girl appearance. So she has always kind of maintained not getting anything visible. So even now, when she's going in for her first session soon, she will not be getting anything you guys will probably be seeing. So... in fact, you guys, I don't know that you guys have ever seen my leg tattoo. I've got a leg sleeve. So, I mean, like that right there is the most visible thing I've got. I go in next week to do my consult. I'm going to be getting this shoulder done down to about here. And that's going to be a liquid culture theme tattoo. And, or rather a void theme tattoo, but liquid culture is going to do that, is going to be with that. So, Scrooge, are you talking to me or Wayne when you're talking about PM later? Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Did I skip you? No, I didn't. It's just where Wayne was talking about running. I read that earlier. Really appreciate you providing these live streams. They're so much fun, but where is the better half? I mean, other half. No, she's the better half. She's on deliveries right now. So she won't be getting home for, I don't know, another 45 minutes to an hour. She is hitting 3 different counties today. So she's been on the road for some time. And we had to go pick up our van from the shop. So she actually got a little bit of a late start. So it may be closer to 5 before she gets home, and I'll be well off the live stream by that point. So you guys won't be seeing the blonde pretty one today. I'll let her know that you guys missed her. Is there a link to buying mushrooms and not just kits? No, I don't. Cody, I don't sell fresh mushrooms. I sell liquid cultures, petri dishes, kits, that kind of thing. If you want to buy mushrooms, it's a local pickup only, and you have to call me to set that up. And you'll have to meet us at a restaurant that we currently deliver to. We have talked about doing a CSA drop-off, like a CSA and then a drop-off. And if you're interested in that and you are local to us, let me know, and we'll see if we can't get something going. I would like to build it. I've actually been thinking about talking to a couple other farmers to see if they would want to carry, like go into a partnership and carry mushrooms to farmers markets for us. Or even if I can get somebody local to we've thought we've come up with a pretty good idea on how to sell mushrooms to market and actually provide that to be a good way to go. So we're planning on talking to a few people and seeing what they think, if they want to do their Saturdays at the farmers market. I miss doing it. I really miss doing the farmers market. The Knoxville one's amazing. Donata, killer. Donata. Dylan, does transferring from slant to slant degrade the end product, or does it degrade faster going grain to grain? Thanks for your time. Your best. So dish to dish is what you would go from. I wouldn't go from slant to slant. I would go from slant to dish to slant if you're wanting to go from one slant to another, because you want to be able to inspect it on the agar, make sure it's not dirty. And as far as degrading, if you're talking about like the mushroom diabetes, the enzyme blindness, any kind of malt extract, like anything sugary is going to, it's not going to cause it to degrade so much, but I mean, like in the simple terms, yes, it will degrade faster going from sugar to sugar to sugar to sugar. Best thing you can do would be take some sterile sawdust, put it in a petri dish, inoculate that. When it grows all the way towards the end of that, select from there, put it back in petri or put it back in dish. Okay, you're talking to Wayne. Gotcha. Didn't realize you guys knew each other, or maybe I did and forgot. Mario, because of limited space, I plan to have my mycelium grow in the lab on grain, but also plan to have my pasteurizer in the same room. I should be able to control temp with no problem. Is that okay? It depends. If you're venting your steam outside and you're not getting steam in your lab, that should be okay. If you are getting steam in your lab, you might have a problem with mold growth in your lab, and that's not okay. Do I always wear a kilt? No kilt today. I'll have to tell Samantha people are looking at my pants. No, I don't always wear a kilt. I actually haven't wore one in a little bit now. I probably need to break them back out. I was wearing them all the time, and started having a lot more business meetings, so I started wearing pants to the business meetings. But I prefer the kilt. It's way more comfortable. Way more comfortable. And most of the girls that I like, meaning my wife, they like the kilt too. Lance, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm practicing a hermit again. I'm a practicing hermit. Then again, there's not a stoplight where I live, so only one stop sign. What did I miss, Lance? Oh, the stalkers? Yeah. There's a lot of stalkers for sure. Got to run. Thanks so much for doing these. Yeah, you're welcome, Scrooge. You probably already headed out, but it was good to see you, man. Talk to you. Marvin, hi. Don't try to read my name. It's German. Marvin der Hund? I know you said not to. I know Hund means dog, so of the dog, right? Marvin of the dog? Is that what that means? Let's see, Ocean Air. Why does LC to fruiting block not work as well? Much appreciated. I don't know. It just stalls out. It seems to me like it would be a no-brainer that it would work. So I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't. But you put it, if you put it in, the dog, not of, yeah, der, yeah, that means the. If you put it in the sawdust mix, and I've tried taking it and then mixing it, as per Paul Stamets' suggestions in his book, Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms, and that did not work out well for me. I didn't see any growth from that. And then going straight to bulk substrate from liquid culture ended up having a growth when I just injected it, and left it alone, didn't shake it or anything. It ended up growing in and then just stopping and never growing in again. And I don't know if that is because we pasteurized our substrate instead of sterilized. Maybe if we did a pressure cook, and sterilized the thing really well, maybe that would work better. If not, I know people can do it to a grain pocket, and in the grain pocket, it grows out just fine. I have not tried pasteurizing a grain pocket, doing the grain and then the substrate and then pasteurizing that. But like I said before, I've never seen the sense in putting a grain pocket in unless you literally just don't have a HEPA filter to work with. That would be the only time I can see when that. Actually, no, I take it back. I do see sense in it now. So I was wrong. Again, if you're working without a HEPA filter, liquid culture, and then liquid culture to a grain pocket substrate bag is probably your best way of starting a commercial mushroom farm. So, but to answer your question directly, yeah, I just don't know why it doesn't work. It seems to me it would work. Gotcha, Marvin. Yeah, Marvin the dog. Well, welcome, Marvin the dog. Willkommen. Or Guten Tag. Or maybe it's not Guten Tag there. Maybe it's not the day where you're at. See, you're in Germany, so you'd be almost 12 hours ahead of me, right? Darian, hey, thank you for everything. Love your page. I've got about 2 weeks till my Milo grain jars are completely spawned out, so I'm brainstorming substrate plans. Any suggestion for substrate mediums? The Masters mix is my favorite way to go. Be 50% soybean hull pellets and 50% hardwood fuel pellets, and then 60% hydration. If you're looking for something else, just put that in the chat, and I'll tell you a couple others. But I'm fine. I'm just going to tell you a couple others, actually. You can do sawdust and wheat bran. Do 40% wheat bran, 60% sawdust, and again, hydrate to 60%. And 50. You can hydrate to 50% if you want a faster spawn run. But I find that your first and second flushes do go down a little bit if you back down off that 60% hydration. And then you can do 16%. What is it? It's 16% alfalfa pellets, 84% sawdust pellets, and then 60% water again. If you're working with bulk substrate like bulk sawdust that aren't pelletized, you're going to have to take measurements before you figure out your hydration rate. But that's 3 substrates right there. That should be one for each part of the country in the U.S. So hopefully that'll help. Daniel C., for making liquid premix, is it okay to use corn sugar? It is okay to use corn sugar. Let's see. I gave out my recipe the other day and then quickly didn't put it down anywhere. It's 500 milliliters water. I can't remember. We use dextrose, corn sugar dextrose is what I use. I get it off Amazon. So I get malt extract and then dextrose and water. And that's pretty much it that goes in my liquid culture. And I just mix it all together in a mixer and then put it in a airtight container. They call me Walter White. Yeah. Indigo Blue, what size HEPA do you use? It looks like a 24. It's a 24 by 36. You ever think about adding more HEPA filters to make the work area larger? Yes. We're talking about different ways to do that in our space as we get larger. In the space we're moving into, I'm talking about building a private lab where I'll be doing my culture work and things like that. We'll be doing a production lab where the employees will be working, and that way we're not getting into each other's way like we currently are. And plus, I'll be able to have private space set up the way I want and everything else. And it'll be only culture work will ever be done in there. So the stuff will remain much cleaner than having people come in and working, every other day doing production work, spilling sawdust and soy. Don't get me wrong. They're supposed to be spilling sawdust and soy in there, so don't think they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. It's just the way it goes when you're working with that much substrate. Stuff happens, bags pop, things like that. So, is there any way to make the Masters mix in jars instead of the bags? Yeah, absolutely. You just make it in you're going to have to figure out the ratios yourself. for the jar. But and you'll have to play with it to see how much is there. So what I would do is actually probably make it on the side there, fill up the jar to the point that you want it filled up. Take your weights before and after filling, and then calculate backwards how much sawdust, soy, and water you need to use, and then you can just throw your pellets in, your water, and cook. I will say it's gonna be harder to clean out the jars. Way harder to clean out the jars, so I would just do it in bags. You're going to be going through a lot of soap and water and a lot of elbow grease to do it in jars. I'm using a 20 by 20 box fan with a MERV 13 filter duct tape to the back. It's better than nothing. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've heard a lot of people using that. It's definitely not ideal, but it can work. So if I have 4-quart jar spawning, can you give me a rough estimate on how much I can produce if all conditions are good? So is it 4-quart jars of bulk substrate or 4-quart jars of grain? Joseph Dalhassan. So is that Joseph Dalhassan? When expanding a 6-pound bag grain spawn for spore or wherever, second generation, how many pounds can I turn that into? You can take their 5-pound bag and add, a tiny little handful to each bag. So, I mean, you can probably put that in 55-pound bags, something like that. Do you know this isn't meth? Killer Kenya's faux hood? Faux hood. Flow hood. What about the flow hood? Mr. Red Wing, have you tried the new biodegradable bags? I'm leery about throwing away so much plastic. They're not biodegradable. They're oxodegradable, which just means they break down into microplastics. So, no, it's definitely not better for the environment. So, Ian, even if it was for Breaking Bad, oh, I got you, Marvin. Yeah, I haven't watched that show in a long time, but I liked it whenever I first watched it. I never did finish it either. But Mr. Redrina, going back to your question there, I haven't tried them. I have a lot of people who have tried them. Number one, they're worse for the environment when they're being made a lot of times. And number two, they just break down into microplastics, which actually are not great for the environment either. There is no true biodegradable bag. And also, those oxodegradable bags, they become brittle before the second flush is even done. And the people that I know that have tried them have had really bad experiences with them because they can't carry the bags oftentimes out of their own grow rooms because the bags are so brittle. I know people keep talking about how much they don't like throwing away the plastic, but I'm serious. Like, seriously, just send it to your recycler. If you feel that bad about it. But I don't feel bad about it because it's actually less. I'm actually polluting less than having to clean glass, right? Like, if you're cleaning glass, you're spending a lot of money heating water, number one, and not just money, oil. You're burning oil or natural gas or something to heat that water. Then to make soap. It's not like soaps are great for the environment either. Not all soaps are great for the environment, and oftentimes the good soaps are. And then you're talking like if you're running a dishwasher to clean everything, now you've got the power from the dishwasher. You've got it comes down to the fact that you're just going to have to choose what pollution you want to do if you want to grow. If you want to grow and make an impact on the world, you gotta make a sacrifice somewhere, and my thought is go into it with your eyes open. You don't like the plastics. I don't like the plastics. Neither one of us do, but it's the sacrifice I'm willing to make because it's the best alternative I can find with the limited amount of information I have. Once I get to the point where I get enough money that I can do research into, reusable containers and good ways to do it without being even worse on the environment, man, believe me, I will be the first on that. I know I'm a conservative. I know a lot of people think conservatives are not environmentalists. That is absolutely not true. I got into mushrooms because I love the environment. I love being out in the woods. I love nature. And it's not my intention to ever hurt it. But those bags, it's just the best thing I've come across. The best solution. The best worst solution, right? And so I feel you. I absolutely feel you. It pains me too. It pains Samantha. We all talk about it. We talk about it constantly. Daniel says, I've seen I'm sorry. It's rude. I know that's rude. My mother taught me better than that. I've seen malt extract agar mixes on Amazon, but just the malt extract powder is associated with brewing on their labels. Yep, that's what I use. Brewing malt extract, and then I buy agar. The video that goes out tomorrow will have, I think it's going to have those in the links. It'll be, you'll be getting, there'll be a link for agar, a link for malt extract, a link for dishes. I think that might be on a different video. It should be at least those two, though. And a pressure cooker, like the same pressure cooker I use, the flasks I use, that kind of stuff. Faux Hood was the guy with the box fan and the filter on it. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize what you were saying. Like I said, I think it may be a cold. Someone told me I need some silver. I like using molasses in my liquid culture recipe. Seems to speed things up a little bit. I believe it might have something to do with the sulfur content in the molasses. What are your thoughts? I have done it with molasses one time, but I wasn't keeping track of things, so I don't. It did. Maybe I'll put a small needleful into a jar and see what it does side by side. My thoughts are that sounds great. I don't know if that has anything to do. I don't know what the sulfur content. I don't know what the nutritional content of molasses is. And are we talking about like molasses, or are we talking about southern molasses, which is now known as sorghum syrup? So, because that would make a difference. Sorghum syrup, I've got plenty of that because it's grown all over the place here, processed here. One of the biggest processors in the States is not far from my house. Oh, see, Marvin, have a good one. How many times can I reuse bags if I seal with a metal tie wire? Bob, I don't have an answer to that. I've never tried. I wouldn't think you can reuse your bags very many times because mine get pretty brittle after they've grown a couple flushes out. After they've been cooked, they change textures and then they continue to kind of degrade for a while. Where do I buy my bags from? I alternate between Eric Myers and Seth Fisher. So you have Myers Mushrooms and Mushroom Media online. Either way, if you buy from either, I think Eric Myers has a code Mossy. It's like 10% off your order. Seth Fisher doesn't yet. We've been trying to negotiate something out that'll work for both of us. He keeps his prices really low, so it doesn't give me much skin in the game. So we're trying to figure out if there's some way we can't negotiate, some way to make that helpful. But I'll just tell you guys I buy them from either one of them, and I usually alternate so I can keep both of them happy. So I'm regularly getting orders from both of them. Also, you can buy them straight from Unicorn, say like a penny per bag. It's not much. It's better just to buy it from Eric or Seth because they're so much faster. Hey, Myko Mama. Hey, every time you always say, hey, y'all, or hey, guys, and it always makes me think, and with your name, it's always that, hey, mama, gonna make you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. Now I've got Led Zeppelin on the brain. Darian, do you case and fruit inside the same bag that you use for the grain spawn process? So I don't case anything. I don't fruit inside the bag. We take our grain spawn bag and we have a larger version that we have bulk substrate in. We inoculate that. When it's grown in, we take it to our grow room, cut a small square in the side, collapse the flap down, put it on the shelf. Mushrooms grow out the side of the bag. Indigo Blue, conservatives are pragmatic. That's been my experience. Most conservatives I've met, and not all, by any means, not all liberals, not all conservatives, have been very, very, very loving, compassionate, caring people. Most people I meet just want to do a good job, want to be loved, and want to love other people in return. And that's that's what I've run into most of the time. And most conservatives are that way. They just have a different view on how things should be done. And a lot of it seems geographical to me. I grew up in East Tennessee, which is actually a pretty liberal place. It's kind of a weird place. It's like very liberal conservative. But it's like, if you see Tennessee, it's a red state, except for East Tennessee is a blue. And East Tennessee, I think, is the only part of Tennessee that fought for the Union instead of the Confederacy, that kind of thing. They've been Republicans for a very long time, that whole kind of thing. So not that they're Republicans now, though I think the vast majority of people here in East Tennessee still are Republican. they also tend to just vote on the issue more than a political party, in my experience. Dune says, I know using the molasses versus corn dextrose by King Mycelium looks like trees growing on the sides of jars. That sounds awesome. Can you take a picture and send it to me? I want to see that. Maybe a video would be better. Thomas says, light, medium, or dark malt extract. I've been running light. I just run regular malt extract. I don't go dark or light. You could do either. I know a lot of people do light. I don't know the benefits of running light or dark. Like, I don't even know what the benefits are supposed to be. Oh, my goodness. My gray streak is really showing, huh? Impulse sealer mandatory then. No, Bob, it's not. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give you that impression. It is, in my opinion, more ideal. And but I will say that it's kind of expensive. My sealer costs a couple $100. And then the replacement parts kits for them are like $15 that I have to spend every few months, every 2 or 3 months, something like that. So it's not mandatory. A lot of people use zip ties and things like that. You just have to be very careful because they don't seal very well that way. It's also hard to keep more air in your bag to make shaking easier. So in my opinion, it is better to have it than it is to not. Let's see. Daniel C. says, very good. For future reference, what would be the best way to ask and or contact Sam about possible company name designs? Honestly, the best way to do this without overwhelming her would be to email me at mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com, and I'll forward it to her. And then she'll contact you directly, and that'll probably be the easiest way for us to just get something out there right now. I know she's working on one right now for Myco Mama, so she won't be taking any more until she's done with that one. She's working on one for, oh my gosh, somebody sent me an email. I sent it to her about a plumbing logo, and she's actually working on a plumbing logo for somebody. And then a bearded bullet for a guy that was bearded bullets. He was on here earlier. I don't know if he still is, but she's been playing with one of those. And maybe he the, I can't remember. I don't know, guys. You guys are, my mind feels stretched all the time anymore. Let's see. Michael Mama says you can also order bags bulk 1,000 for $335. Yeah, that's true. Like unicorn may be $335 for 1,000. I think it ended up costing me $400 from Seth at Mushroom Media Online, but I ordered it yesterday and it's here. It's gonna be here tomorrow according to the tracking number. I mean, he's that fast. And then Eric, even though Eric's out of the country, I think he's still out of the country. He was last time I saw. I think his wife's running the business while he's gone, and she's getting stuff. She's getting stuff out the door like next day. So let's see. Laugh My House Me Too. That's another advertising idea for Sam. What, the Led Zeppelin? Yeah, fair enough. Hello, and thanks for the content. You're welcome, Carlos. Dune 1000. Dune. I should just call you Dune. Or Nobleman. Do you like Dune or Nobleman better? Led Zeppelin, my first album. Yeah, oh, man. What's funny, my dad's a drummer, and he used to play in a band called the Grey Ghost Band. And they rocked out lots of classic rock. And my dad does not like Led Zeppelin, which is crazy to me that he's a drummer from the 70s and 80s who wasn't really that big and who wasn't that big into Led Zeppelin. So the band he's in right now, the J. Eric Band, they do a lot more Motown. So I think he enjoys the Motown a little bit more these days. At least he was. I mean, I assume he still is. I need to go watch him play. I used to go play every now and then, and I haven't been in years. So hey, if anybody's local to Knoxville and wants to go watch my dad play music, let's get like a group thing together in Knoxville one weekend night, like a Friday or Saturday night, and we'll go watch him play some music. Heck, we may even find somewhere the Frog and Toad Band's. Like, I don't like jazz music at all, but I love the Frog and Toad Band. So they play up in Knoxville as well. So maybe we can get together and start having drinks or something if anybody lives in Knoxville. Sweet Life says you cut a square, not a cross. That is correct. I cut a square. I try to do a 1 inch by 1 inch. Our squares keep drifting bigger and bigger for some reason, and we'll go back down and we'll do the 1 inch again, and they keep drifting. So we are talking about going to an X or maybe a puncture tool that will do an X or a square for us. You're welcome, Darian. Hey, you're welcome, Klein. I hope you have a good evening too. Oh, it says I have red, green, blue LED light. Do you know tricks with the light? For what? Fruiting room? Your grow room? What are you using the lights at? Is it possible to have your pressure cooker too full so it's impossible to get PSI up to 14 PSI? No, if you're putting heat to it, it won't be so full that you can't get it up to 14 PSI. Maybe you're blocking your gauge where your gauge can't read it. Maybe you have a leak in the side that's letting off pressure. If you join the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate on Facebook and then put a video up there, we can get something like if I can see what it's doing, I can tell you a lot better than I can just by reading. Mario, the 60% hydration you talked about in substrate, can you give volume like a gallon? It's like a gallon of water. Bob Cratchit, is there a lot of red tape involved on selling to local grocery chains? Not a lot, but a little more than I want to deal with. I am very anti-regulation and free market, and so eventually I will work with those people, but anywhere I can go and get a maximum value increase for the least amount of trouble, that's where I'm going. So right now I've gone to restaurants. Grocery stores usually have their own red tape. It's usually not like state red tape, though there is some of that sometimes. You'll need a lot of traceability. A lot of grocery stores want you to follow MGAP protocols, which, as far as I'm concerned, are just measures to make you go bankrupt as fast as possible, and most of them have nothing to do with safe growing at all, though they try to say that it does. But yeah, there is that. So, Michael Mama, woohoo! Sam is the shit, isn't it? I love what she's done so far with my logo. I've not even seen it yet. Where did you see it? She is amazing. And I'm gonna she and I, like, right now, you guys have got us so busy, she's so busy, the kids, the school, and everything else. We're like two ships in the night. We're lucky if we get like 30 minutes a day with each other. Used to, and I probably could have today, but we were cutting it so, like, the kids are going to be home in like 15 minutes, and it cuts it so close that I needed to stay home, so I was make sure I could be here for the kids. But she and I, it's one of those things where I used to go on deliveries with her, or she would go on with me just so we could have a date day. We'd find someone to pick up lunch, go to all of our chefs, and maybe find a store to go to and just kind of look around or something, just to enjoy each other's company. But yeah, that was just a way of saying I haven't even got to see your logo, and I'm a little jealous you've gotten to see it before me. Yeah, it takes about 10 days to get them. The bags. Yeah, that's so my problem. Unicorn used to be worse. Unicorn used to order, and then it might be you'd get it in 2 days, or you might get it in 8 weeks. And now they've gotten a lot more stable in my understanding. They're way more stable. My goodness, are you guys ordering stuff right now? I'm getting. You guys have given me like 3 orders off the website just right in a row. Crazy. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And then Samantha texted me. That's actually what I was looking at, was Samantha texted me. I wasn't ignoring you guys for the money. Let's see. Bob says impulse sealers on Amazon for $32.69. Yes, they are. There are cheaper ones on there. I have used those. They will get you to a point where you can buy the more expensive one, but the more expensive one with the electromagnet is absolutely worth it. If you can afford to get it right off, get that one right off. It saves you so much time. And the 5 millimeter seal is so much better than the smaller ones. So, yes, fruiting room for reishi. Let's see. Oh, okay. Go towards the blue spectrum. So tweak them towards the blue. Mushrooms love blue. Nancy Vancher. I bought substrate from the Mushroom Media online. After hearing about it here, it was great, and they had small amounts shipped for free. What, really? I didn't know that. And they had Master's Mix too. I was needing soybean hulls. Told them you sent me in the comments. Thank you so much for telling them that. I'm sure Seth sees that stuff for sure. He works his butt off. I'm glad that you liked it. I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad that I'm not sending people in a direction that they don't enjoy, right? That'd be a recipe for disaster. If our relationship was me sending you somewhere and you had a terrible time. Darian says, have you done shiitake logs before? The total time start to finish seems daunting. Yeah, it's a long-term investment for sure. I've done them. That's my preferred way of growing shiitake as a tier 1 mushroom farm because you can set them outside, forget about them for a year, and then go out there on a rainy day in the winter or spring, and you've got great shiitake for you to eat, or even enough to sell a little bit over. And it's just one of those things where, you have to be willing to take that long-term investment. It's better to grow in blocks, but even the blocks are a long-term investment. If you're a tier 1 farm, you shouldn't be doing shiitake, in my opinion, until you get your tier 1 mushrooms like oysters down pat. Rich Jackson, busy. Yeah, man, that's life right now, man. It's crazy. Michael Moss says she keeps sending me snippets of designs, especially the one with the tail design. It's rocking. Dang, okay, I'm going to have to take a look at it. When she gets home, I'll ask her to show me. But again, as soon as she gets home today, she and I are taking off in 2 different directions. We won't see each other till 9, 10 o'clock tonight. But I do look forward to seeing it. Yggdrasil, and I'm glad that she's doing a good job for you. I'm glad that you really enjoy it. I knew that she would do a good job. She's been a little bit nervous about getting into this kind of stuff. So, I'm glad that you guys are having a good time with each other. Yggdrasil, what should one search for when trying to sell to restaurants? I imagine laws are different state to state and county to county. Yes, they are. So look up your state laws for sure. You're not going to have any problems. If you're under $500,000 a year, you're not going to have any problems with federal. So that's for a different day. By the time you get there, though, don't worry. You'll be in a position to deal with it. So don't worry about the federal so much right this second. As far as your state, look up your state laws, like state laws of mushrooms, growing mushrooms, selling mushrooms. Most states regulate it as just produce, like Tennessee. So, you have that. Let's see, Jose. For some reason, your block or your text didn't just go. So I'm going to show it. I'll get to that here in a second. But I do have something to say about that. Beyond that, what I'm looking for when I'm selling to a restaurant is I look for a fine dining. I look up fine dining near me, and then I look for all the places that are non-chain restaurants. So local chains are okay, as long as they're not so big. There's a local chain here called Aubrey's that I'm really wanting to get into. The last time I talked to them, they said we don't really want to do it unless you can do all 15 Aubrey's. It's like 15. That's like as many restaurants as I had at the time. It's close to what I've got now. And we're like, oh gosh, okay, we can't do that, right? Now they're at like 20 restaurants and growing. And we're looking at the warehouse now, and it's like, okay, well, with this warehouse, we might be able to hit all of Aubrey's. And that's like, well, they're growing at such a rate too. We may not be able to hit them at that point. But I've got so many chefs wanting weekly orders now that I can't keep up with what I've got right this second anyways. So that's what I look for. And you're welcome, Bob. Yeah, that's the 5mm band is probably the best way to go with an impulse sealer. You'll find that a lot of times those smaller ones are underpowered and won't get you good seals. They'll pop open a lot of times when you're like shaking them and stuff. Also, that nice wide band, if you've got dust in your bag, it makes sure that it's sealed because let's say, there's dust right here. It'll like right here, that wide band will make sure that it stays sealed around that section. So it's less of a headache is all. Can you explain what tiers mean, or can I Google it? So Darian, the best way to do it is go to look up Google Mossy Creek mushrooms, mycological warfare. The tier system is something we created. Really, Ben created it, and it's a breakdown of what we think the marketplace is going to be. There's a mycological warfare part 1 and part 2. Tier 1 mushroom farms really means that you have a product that can't be shipped very well, but it's high value, grows fast, doesn't have a long shelf life. Tier 2, and it kind of goes from there. That's what I would look up. Let's see. At Darian, if you follow Paul Stamets' technique, you can fruit shiitake blocks 30 days from inoculation. I have personally gotten shiitake 36 days from inoculation. I would be interested in your yields on that because most of the time you can do that, but the yields are much better if you wait 8 weeks. And I mean, honestly, if you're going to wait 30 days, you might as well wait 60. Is my opinion. And also, shiitake is one of those things. The labor of picking costs more. The value extraction is slower and smaller. Oysters are superior as a tier 1 mushroom farm, in my opinion. Bob Cratchit. Is my gasket bad because steam leaks out the handles and takes forever to pressure to build up? Take that while the seal's in your pressure cooker. If you read it, a lot of times it'll tell you to slick that a little bit with petroleum jelly. And I have found that helps. I have an oyster that is busting the parafilm and fruiting out my dish within 13 days. I'd really like to find out the genetics. Is that possible for you to find out about it? I found it wild. So keep growing it. And if you want to send me a culture of it, I just met a guy on this chat earlier today at the very beginning that is said he's a plant geneticist, and he's going to help me start getting into this stuff. So if you want to send it to me, I'll start talking to him, and we can probably get that in. Like it's usually cheaper if you do bulks. So do a bunch of strains at once instead of trying to do it one at a time. So if you do that, that'll help me get a cheaper price on my cultures, and then might be able to do it just for you at cost or something. If he can help me with that. So just let me know. Though that's 13 days is pretty quick. Cold chill. Pluto says, hi, everyone. Andrew, yeah, hey, man. Yeah, for me, I looked up Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture to find out my growing laws. Yeah, the Department of Ags for your states are usually pretty good. Agricultural states like Tennessee usually are very helpful, and they want to help you out big time. So, yeah, Darian, on the shiitake, just like I said, you're probably going to be better off buying a strain like 3790 instead of Paul Stamets strain. I used to grow that. You can get them faster with Paul Stamets, but the yields are not very good, and the quality of mushroom I found wasn't quite as good as like 3790 or 3782 from Mycelia. So, and with that, guys, we're at the end of the questions. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, and you guys can go ahead and put some more questions out there, and when I come back, I'll answer them until the kids get home. Woo! Sorry about that, guys. Wanted to blow my nose. And now the chat, as I'm watching, is just spinning. Jose got another one review. Jose, why are all your stuff getting held for review? Especially, I mean, it's just your yields, man. I don't understand what's going on with that. That Flonase. All right. Now I'm back. Let's go through it. Let's see. Darian Maldonado said, or Jose says the Darian, growing gourmet and medicinal mushrooms, Paul Stamets, page 272 to 273, gets an average of 7 ounces per first flush of shiitake on a 5-pound block. You use LES 75. Yeah, I used to use that strain. It's not 3782 and 3790 will blow it out of the water for you, man, especially if you just put in the wait time. Yeah, Gotta get that Flonase. All right, so the 7 ounces is it's a pretty small yield. I'd be interested to know if you can do the 7-ounce yield and then wait a little bit and then get the large, like a larger yield as a second flush. That would be interesting. Nancy asked, what did I say about the tiers? Let's see real quick before I answer. Mycological warfare. So like biological, except because mycology warfare may or may not bring it up. But yeah, it looks like Darian's got it for me. So thank you, Darian, for having my back. And Nancy, I hope that answers it. Mango, I'm not sure what the faces are. Apparently my computer doesn't have all those emojis. Probably just waiting on me, huh? I need to get Paul's books. I've been using forums and your page. These live feeds are invaluable as well. Yeah, man, I'm glad that they are. Books will be nice just for reference at the very least. Yeah, Dune, man, have a good day at work. I'll be getting off myself very soon. My gosh. I'm sorry, guys. This is like the snottiest live stream I've ever done. Let's see. Michael Miles says you have 2 wild lion's mane. You'd like to find out about those. And the wild oyster. I'll just send them all. Better to have you as my backup anyway. I don't want to make the mistake of losing them. Yeah, that's a big thing, having backups for sure. And hope you don't mind if I grow them out a little bit. Nancy said, oh, thanks, Darian. Darian said, Andrew, please don't worry about my last name. It's a lot. Yeah, I never know, man. Maldonado. I hope I said it right, though. It sounds vaguely Spanish. Stephen Van Gogh, have you ever used coca coir as a substrate, and what is the idea behind its nutritional content for mushrooms? So I don't know much about it. I will tell you that the consult that I did back in Colorado, they used coca coir as their base substrate, and I think that it's just basically it's just a non-nitrogen containing lignous material. So for that, you're probably not going to get very yields on it growing it by itself, but if you supplement it and then use it as your base, you're probably going to get pretty decent yield for sure. Michael Boogers is the worst. I've actually not been in the grow room much, and when I do, most of the time I wear a mask. Though I will say that I'm taking a time lapse right now, and you can absolutely see me walk through the time, like to the camera and back again in the time lapse without wearing my mask. So, but that's in the small rooms, and in the small rooms, there's not a lot of sporage like there is in the big room. So, but Michael Boogers are the worst. Bob says allergies and flus going around, different contaminants activate stuff hard. Yeah, for sure, man. Gosh, we've had 2 different types of the flu, I think, this year. This has been the worst flu season in this area for a long time. And it seems like everyone at our operation has gotten sick with something in the past few months, and some of us multiple times in a row. Do I have any tips or tricks for growing comb tooth? Also, when's good to harvest? So the comb tooth, my comb tooth at least, comes out very pink, especially in cool weather. And then as it grows out, it'll start to turn white, and it might have a little bit of pink on the top. When it's white on the bottom and pink on the top, that's when it's ideal. It's when it's got teeth. It's very but you can pick it younger. I've picked it like whenever it just grows out as a blob. I've just picked that before and sold that, and it's a very different texture. But I find that some chefs like it that way, and some like the branched coral look. So, it's going to be very subjective when you pick it. As far as a good yield, is that what you asked? Tips or tricks? It likes it drier than oysters, and it doesn't like as much air movement, and it doesn't like its light as bright. Something I find is that whenever I have it under the bright lights, they get brown on top. They get dried out easily, almost bruised from the light. Could have sworn I heard a door open. So there's that. And then the harvest time, like I said, is after they've started to tooth out, but before they get spongy. So, Michael Mama, not at all. I'd love to see what you do with them. I'll send you the pics where I found them to your email. Only thing is, get to taste yours. Yeah, sounds good to me. I'll grow them out. I'll take some pictures, see what they do here. Same here in Cincinnati. Oh, yeah, man, the flu's been terrible. Hey, guys, the school bus is up here, so I'm going to go ahead and head off. You guys have a very good day. If you need anything, again, that email address is mossycreekmushrooms@gmail.com. I'm getting flooded with them, so please be patient. It may be up to 7 days before I answer you. So I'm trying to just read them, prioritize, and then just continue on. So with that, y'all, keep spawning culture. And yeah, glad to be around with you guys. Have a good day. My live stream won't stop. There